All right. How we doing?
All good. How you doing, Mike?
Good, good. Good, good. So, okay. Well, you guys know what these calls are about. So who wants to get started? Who's got questions? Who's got comments?
This is my first Build Lab meeting online thing, so I'm just going to stand back, see what you guys do.
I mean, if hopefully somebody, asks questions. I mean, so the main thing with these calls is, to get on here and, ask questions and just get help thinking through things or going through the program, or if there's, just anything where it's like support or you need to talk through something, whatever it is. It's just, this is the, place where we.
All right, I have something that's been on my mind. So my product is I have an access control company.
Mhm.
So my goal is to put an access control system in someone's office or building or whatever business. So like a two-door system is like $3,000 Canadian, which is like $20 American, and a four-door is about $5,000.
Mhm.
So what is my call to action on my VLC? Is it to book an appointment? Or is it to book an appointment for me to go and look at the job and give them a quote? Is it for them to actually book an installation? Or I was thinking, maybe do I charge an initial fee to go to see them so that I weed out some people? That's my biggest question right now.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So what I would first ask you is, when somebody does business with you,
Yeah.
what do you need to know from them before you can do business with them?
Okay, so what do I need to know in order to do business with them, or in order to do an installation for them? Because one is purely a physical thing, and
So if there's somebody out on the internet and they're just out there, killing time between
right,
on their lunch break, and they see one of your pieces of content and they're
exactly,
like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, all right. Well, what's this?" And they click on it. They go to your landing page and
yeah,
you're like, "Hey, do you know how many office keys there are out there? Do you know, like, this kind of thing?" And they're like,
yeah,
"Oh, Jesus, I never even thought about that." They opt in, they watch this video that shares with them, you know, the problem, and
yeah,
it shares with them how you solve the problem, and it shows them the benefits and the values and all that jazz. And then at the end, you're going to say, now, in order for me to help you or to get something like this installed, I need to X. Like, if I'm brand new and I've never met you and you don't know what I am or who I am or anything, and I want to buy your thing, is it possible for me to just buy it, or is there a process ahead of that?
okay. So I'm in the Toronto area, so the area is going to be quite large. It's going to be from here to Niagara Falls and kind of up north and out east. So first of all, I have to be in that area. Okay, so number two, they have to obviously be a decision maker in the business that they're, it can't be like Joe in shipping that wants an access control system. It's got to be, somebody who's running the show, the owner, whatever, right? And then I need to know, basically how far away things are, like how far the front door is away from the back door and things like that. Some physical things.
So what you're telling me is there's a process prior to them. They can't just buy it like they're going to buy a pair of shoes. There's something that they need to talk to you about. They need to verify things. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be getting them to schedule a call with you.
Okay.
Okay. So when they get through the video,
Yeah.
you're going to state in the video who this is for and who this is not for. So I do this towards the end. I'm like, after the first part of the video is basically, hey, if you have this problem, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to show you how to solve it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I go over and I say, most people that have this problem are dealing with these things, and they go through this and this, and I'm basically describing the nature of their current situation. And then I start describing the different problems and struggles that people have that are in that current situation and why it's so beneficial to fix it, as they probably already know.
Right.
And then I start to explain away different concerns towards the end. I'm just kind of working it in there. And then I go, now you're probably wondering maybe like, who is this for? Well, this is for somebody that, is the decision maker on the business. They live in this region or area, and they are ready to do X, Y, and Z. They understand X, Y, and Z. And you go through 3 to 5 things that need to be certain in order for them to even care about moving forward or even assume that they should or anything. So you really want to make that clear. And then you want to say, so how do we make sure that this is going to work for you? Well, I opened up my schedule for the next 4 days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept some free strategy or discovery calls, I like to call them, where you can actually jump on the phone with me. And here's how your free call goes. Basically, we get on there and I'm going to find out where you're at, where you want to be, any troubles that you're having. And I'll give you an idea of what this looks like, how to get it done. And we'll kind of work through this so that you can leave that call and have clarity and know the direction to take. And if you want, and if you ask me, how we can help you, then only then I'll share with you what it is that we do and how that can actually help you. So again, I've only opened up my schedule for the next 4 days. We book out pretty quickly, or, when we've got, we can only handle so many people per week. So if you're interested in this, you want to jump on a free discovery call with me and see how this can work for you, go down below this video. There's going to be a button there. It's going to say schedule discovery call or schedule free call. You'll go to the next page, and on that page, I'm just going to ask you to pick a time and a date in the next 4 days here. If there isn't anything open, then obviously, you're going to maybe need to email me or something. But if it is, if there's something available, grab it. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions that are going to help me understand what I need to understand about you before we even get on the call. They're simple questions, but just things that I'm going to ask you so that when we get on the call, we can jump right into it and start helping you get a clear path as to what you need to do. So again, spots do fill up quickly. Make sure you go down there, click the button, and I can't wait to talk to you. This is recorded. That's why I did all this. So you can go back and listen to this, but that's what you're going to be doing. And then you're going to put a Calendly link on that button. So when it comes to, the landing page, they opt in because they want to learn about this thing. They want to find out if this is for them or blah, blah, blah. They opt in. Video page has a button underneath it that goes to the schedule page. And then the schedule page, it's just a Calendly form. And I only let people schedule 4 days out. If you let them schedule out further than that, then they forget. And then it's like, well, I didn't do that. I didn't remember doing that. If it's 4 days, you hit the iron while it's hot, you get on there, boom. Okay. And it limits things. I only opened so I went ahead and I opened my schedule up for the next 4 days. We're going to be taking calls. It allows you to say that. So it gives you some kind of urgency inside of that call, because you need to add these elements to get people to take action. Okay. Mm-hmm. Spots can fill up quickly. Spots can fill up quickly. We only open our schedule for the next 4 days. We can only work with so many people. That eliminates the looky-loos, and it gets the people that are serious. And then, the survey questions, sometimes I would have people fill out the survey and they couldn't even fill out the survey correctly. Well, I'm not going to get on the phone with you. Yeah. If you can't even fill out a simple survey, I can't, right? So I would email them and I say, hey, I noticed you didn't fill out your form correctly. I probably won't be able to meet with you just because other people have filled it out correctly and I got to take them, or I would say, or if they weren't the right type of person, they did fill it out correctly, they weren't the right type of person, I'd email them back and I'd say, based off your survey questions here, I don't think right now is a really good time. Now, if you feel like I'm wrong in that, I'm more than open to hear, maybe your argument against that. But right now, I don't think it's a good time for us to get together. Here's a couple of videos that I created that might help you see more about this before we get into it. And that's why, you create stuff that on your content and things that you do in your content where you always have the ability to point them to something to educate them a little bit more. It's usually not a problem. And in the beginning, you take all of them because you need to get the practice. You need to get the reps. So yeah, you're going to be getting a call scheduled. I'm going to be putting inside of the training when it's going to be in pillar number 6. Okay. In pillar 6, where we talk about, pillar 5, Jesus. Pillar 5, when I teach you about the strategy calls, like how to create the VSL video, because I'm going to go through a new training on the VSL video. I'm going to give you a phone script in there that is just solid as can be, like super solid. And I'll train on it and everything like that. That's going to be coming this week. I'm like shooting training. I've shot training today, been uploading some new stuff. So, then
the questions, the questionnaire, that's a Calendly thing?
Yeah. So on Calendly, I'll just show you here. It'd be the easiest way. Let me just show you. Let me pull it up real quick.
So this is one of several companies that I own, but the second one we're going to go through this with, I own a television network in Canada, an Italian television network, so that we're going to go looking for subscribers at that point.
Okay. Yeah, this applies to, all business. Doesn't matter what you're selling, you can use this stuff. I'm primarily talking to people right now about the e-learning industry and how to start, how to create and sell online programs. But if I was a brick and mortar business selling, pumpkins, I would still create a digital formatted program that was free that I would use for a lead collection. And I would put it out there because nothing beats that kind of stuff. You can literally show them and design. It's like, back in the day, companies would put out brochures. Hell, Porsche, they put out an entire damn hardcover book about their car that you can buy just about that one model for that year. It's like a hardcover book, right? Like people are like, how do I apply this to, it's like you're educating the customer about your products and services and what you do. That's how you gain subscriptions. That's how you gain sales. That's how you gain community and audience. Nobody cares about anything until they understand it. Right? So that anything that we can do to aid in that and do it better than the competition is just going to put you on the upper side. All right, let me share this with you. I want to show you what Calendly looks like when you do this. So inside of Calendly, you can create these events. Are you familiar with Calendly at all?
I am, but I don't have the paid. I think I just have the basic version.
Yeah, no, it's like, $15 or something like that. It's super. Yeah. So anyway, you set up one of these events, as you may be familiar with.
Yeah.
And then if you go in here to edit, you see this additional options right here. You can click on invitee questions and you can just add questions. See how it says add new question? I can say it can be a one line, multiple lines. I can say, it can be options, and then I can create, answers. Like I used to put in this right here. I used to put like, you make, 10K to 100K. And then the next one would be 100 to 150. You could put in there, like, what's your income level? You can put in there, like, are you in a position to invest if everything makes sense? Just questions that you need to what you do is you really ask yourself, what do I need to know about this client in order to make an informed or an educated decision, whether or not they're the right person, or B, I even need to spend my time getting on the call with them. Okay.
It's qualifying the lead.
Yeah. So like for me, I have because I sell, for people that want to work with me one-on-one, it's $9,800, right? I'll work with them one-on-one. They get my cell phone. We work shoulder to shoulder. And I basically just help them through things. These are people that are typically, they're already doing, I don't know, 20 to 50 to 100,000 a month. And they just need a couple questions answered and, whatever, right? So they'll pay me that, and they want to bypass some of the other stuff. So I make them fill out this right here. I have them book a free strategy call because I'm not going to get on with just anybody. It's $9,800, right? So it's, paid up front one time. I need to know if they got it before I spend my time on the call. So they put their name, email, as they need to anyway, their best phone number, their website. What do you sell? Who do you serve? How much is a customer worth to your business in a 12-month period? Because if their customer isn't worth enough, I want it to be so that if I get you a couple customers we're in good standings. Like if you pay me 10 grand and I get you a couple customers and a customer's worth 10 grand to you, if I get you 2 customers, what you paid me is already paid back to you. Right. And then what is the current monthly revenue of your business? What is the core thing you want our help with? Please use details. And then I always ask, how did you find out about us? Just for my own, understanding of where these people are coming from. So you can set up all these questions. I wouldn't ask more than like 5 or 6, because then it just gets like, but you really want to ask yourself, like, what are the core questions that, I need to know in order to make this, make this make sense. And then what I do here on the confirmation page, you can come in here and it just redirects to, I have it redirect to this link. So after they fill out the Calendly form, it sends them to this page here. I'll show you what that is. It's literally just, I think it's just my picture on there. Yeah, it's like literally, hey, your call's been booked. Get ready to ask all your burning questions and focus in a quiet room. I need to fix my grammar there. And then don't forget to check your email for a reminder, because Calendly sends the reminder. And then if you have any questions, you can just email us. And then I got the email down below. And that's all you need. You don't need anything else on this page, unless you need to have something else on this page. You need to tell them, hey, before you get to the call, make sure you have your XYZ with you.
So at no point am I pre-qualifying this lead by mentioning money in the VLS?
Yeah, in the VSL.
VSL.
Yeah, so you can, but here's the thing. It depends on how you communicate, right? So for me, when I'm talking, I never told, because prior to the Build Lab thing, my online program was $5,800, right? And so when I would talk in the VSL, I would use language that made sense, right? So I'd be like, I'd be like, so who's this for? You might be asking, is this something that's for you? Well, if you have to be in business already, and you need to have at least 10 to 15 clients. By me saying that, I'm saying to them, listen, this isn't, $100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You kind of use words that really filter them out. But even better, when I say you got to be a business owner, you got to be, doing at least, you have, 10 to 15 or 30 clients or whatever. You need to know that you got to have skin in the game to make this work. Those kind of, I just qualify them in all the different ways that I can. And then usually at that point, nobody's reaching out unless they're prepared,
Sure.
to spend some money. So, and I'll tell you, the call funnel is powerful. I mean, it's strong, and especially when you use this call script that I'm going to be giving you guys. It makes it really actually nice and enjoyable, and it's really high closing, and it's not you talking a lot. You're just basically asking them. It's off the book spin model. Like, you ask them about their situation, you ask them about what, their struggles are. And you're kind of just like a doctor, analyzing a patient before you give them some sort of like prescription, right? It's kind of what it feels like. You're just kind of like, and you set the tone right in the beginning of the call. You're like, all right, but we'll get on the call. Like when I get on the call with somebody, I'm like, all right, hey, how's it going? And they're like, oh, good. I'm like, yeah, just kind of the blah, blah. And then for like 30 seconds, right? And you're like, so I always say, I'm like, so if you want, we can jump into the call if you're ready. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And I say, okay, so here's how the call goes. I'm just going to ask you some questions to see, if you're a good fit, if I can actually help you, and just to see, if we're on the same page, and, is this something that I can see myself being able to actually get you results? And then at the end, I'll just share with you what it is that I have, how that works and everything. And then, the rest of the time, we're just going to spend answering any of the questions that you might have. Oh, okay. And the first thing I say is, I'm like, so, what brought you here on the call today? And I let them answer, and I say, okay, cool. All right. And then I ask another question, and it's like you're asking, maybe 20 questions or something like that. And then it gets to, and they're answering you back. You're learning a lot about your market and everything. That's why I love it. And then I'm like, well, based off, what you've shared with me, it looks like you would be somebody that would qualify for what we're doing here. Would you like me to share with you what it is that we do? here with the business. Oh yeah, that's what, and then I just give them that little rundown, and I'll give it to you, what I do and everything like that. I'll show you my exact script and everything. And I share with them what it is, how it works, And then I'm like, you got any questions? They're like, no. And then I do the last little bit, and I never share the price with them. I make them ask for the price. And I go, yeah, well, at this point, I just want to make sure I answer all your questions. And usually the next question is, well, how much is it? And then I'm like, well, the everyday price for the XYZ course is normally $9,800. But, what I found out is, through time and working with different people, the people that can make decisions quickly always turn out to be our best customers. And so for that very reason, I have our incentive-based pricing where if you get started with me today on the call, I'll actually knock $4,000 off the initial investment. And it's just a one-time investment of $5,800, and then you're in for life. And then whoever talks after that first usually
Wins the bet.
Yeah. And I just sat there and I'm completely silent to a point where, I've sat there for like over a minute before, and they're like, are you still there? And I'm like, I usually have to mute my phone because it's like so intense. I'm like, yeah, I'm still here. And I mute it again. They're like, because they're wanting to get let off the hook.
Right.
And so usually they're like, well, okay. Do you do payments? And I'm like, if I could break it up into a couple payments, would you be ready to go? And it's just that, and I don't go out more than 3 payments on something like that back when I did that. But, it's a very simple thing. And and they leave the call feeling clear and educated. It's pretty cool. So,
in my particular circumstance, do you think I should give them the choice to book an installation right off the top, or do a call? Like, just give them that, that choice to say, okay, you know what, I want the installation. Or do you think
if you do a good enough job in your VSL to where they can self filter themselves and make an actual, because it sounds like you need to kind of verify them, or you need to filter them before you can even decide if it's somebody that you can do it with.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't allow a pre-installation like sign up. You can you could maybe have a question on, or a question on the Calendly form, like, how are you ready to make a, schedule an installation? If everything makes sense, are you able to make a, schedule an installation in the next month, week, day? Like, you could have something like that on there. But honestly, I wouldn't really even bother with that. Because once you essentially qualify them, it'll move through to the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Initially, definitely not. If I really get good at it, maybe. But you're right. Getting to talk to them is my key.
And man, listen, what you learn on them goddamn calls is literally like, I have books up here on my shelf of like these little books like this. Just every single person I got on the phone with, been on the phone with thousands of people at this point, I would take notes. Every question, I'd write it all down. I was so in tune with my market and what their problems were, because every question I asked, they were just unloading all these problems that they had and what they were dealing with and how they did it before, or tried this or did this. And I became just lethal with my ads and my emails and my marketing. I could literally just be like, hey, you're probably dealing with this, huh? And you're like feeling like this. And because I had all their emotion, I had everything on those books.
Right.
And it was insane.
Good. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. I'm going to obviously watch this back and write it all down, but yeah, I'm at the point where I want to do the video now, but I'm going to start going through what you opened up with Build Lab, and just go through that and just catch up on all of that. And then, so I want to be able to start, having it out there in the next week or two.
Yeah. So I'm going to be going over exactly how to create that video sales letter. I call it an offer amplifier video now, just because people were getting like, they think they're like doing hardcore sales in that video. And just anyway. So I'm going to be showing a new and improved way of doing that. And you'll get the script. And if you just follow this system, it doesn't matter if you're selling a course or what, it just, whatever you're selling, this works. It's going to make your life so simple. And if you just stay simple with it, you'll do so much better. The big thing that I encourage you to do right now is really lay out, and sometimes people get confused with this, but really lay out the steps in a broad sense that you take them through, from they are sad to they are happy with your service. So what are the steps you take somebody through? Try to make it 9 big steps. Like I have 9 pillars.
Yeah.
I could make 9 pillars out of how to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Pillar 1, get the ingredients. Pillar 2, lay them out. Pillar 3, construct it. Pillar 4, cut it. Pillar 5, like you can break it down into 9 steps and then make it 3 phases. Because the moment you build a roadmap, while everybody else is out there talking about what it is that you may be talking about with this, controlled access and all this stuff, you can literally get on there and show them a roadmap of how you take them from here to here. And all of a sudden, everything will be changing for you because you've got the map. Everybody else is just talking or showing just a picture of something where you actually are like, here's the map out of the woods. It changes everything. I did this yesterday with a video on TikTok, and it's like almost at 30,000 views in a second. Like, because everybody's like, oh my God, I can see the actual steps of what it is. And it's like, it works in almost everything. A guy did it with wine. So that's the key thing that I want to share is you want to create a roadmap of how you help them get across the thing, right? So does that, am I making any sense with that? Like, do you see what I'm talking about?
Total sense.
You want something where you can actually show them like this roadmap right here. Because when people are like, I can get on these TikToks or I can get on any of my marketing, and I'm like, all right, guys, so today I want to talk to you about the endless lead generator, which is just step 4 out of our 9 steps here. And I want to show you how this component works together to get you leads, but it also helps the rest of it. And this is in just phase 2 of our 3-phase process here. And they're like, oh, 3 phases. Okay, 9 steps. Got it. And then like, I can deliver massive value. And I'm like, that's just one of the steps in this process right here. And you could do the same thing with yours. And so while everybody else is just doing, basic stuff, you're actually showing them what you do to get it done, the process, the pieces. And to you, it might be like, man, this is kind of stupid. Like, who needs to know this stuff? But to them, it's not about them understanding how it's not that they may not care like what you do in step 4 to get it done, but because they heard it and have like an observation of it, they feel like it's going to get done right. And they feel like you know what you're doing, as you would, because you're explaining each step to them. And it's like, it's kind of like when you go buy a car, they're like, oh yeah, it does this. You're like, I don't give a shit. I just, I want to buy this car and drive it. But in the back of your mind, you're also saying like, that's, okay, cool. Yeah, I get it. Like safety. Yeah, it is impact.
So
testing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up, but would step 1 of my 9 pillars be that conversation over the phone?
Yeah. I mean, it could, think about it like this, right? So, I don't have anything on my steps here. It could be, depending on how you can like present the thing, but it's more about this. It's like the first step for you might be, sorry, my little pen's being stupid. The first step might be like, so let's assume that they gave you the money. Okay. You came out, you did you looked at it, you gave them a estimate or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, cool. Got it all done. The first step might be, we come out and we do an estimate. Then the next step is, if you qualify for the estimate, what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Okay. So assume that they already started. Now, what do you guys do to get them from here, okay, to up here, right? what are those steps? Okay. Does that make sense? So it's like,
Makes sense.
yeah, you assume they just bought from you. You came out and did an installation. And then what do you do after that? Well, we come back, we put this stuff together, then we come out and install it. Then we test it. Then we make sure you understand how to use it. Then we show you the different, whatever, all these things that you do to get them here. And then each one of these things become follow-up emails. Each one of these things becomes something you can talk about on social media, while everybody else would just be like, oh, you should get a thingy. You should do this. You're like, I want to share with you what we do in step 4 after somebody buys one of these controlled access systems. I want to show you what we do, what our 4th step is here. And the reason why is because most people have this problem, and step 4 solves that. And you become a problem solution machine. And now all of a sudden, everything that you're talking about is crystal clear. They can see it. They're not like, they get it. And while everybody else is just talking about, oh, it's a great deal, la-di-da-da-da, you're over here like, they're like, yeah, this dude is like, he knows what he's doing. I can see the whole process. I can see myself doing it. It changes the game for you instantly.
Quick question. For my particular product, do you think that LinkedIn is probably the best social media for me?
Well, I mean, the question I have for you is, the people that you are going to be serving, where are they at in the mass? Like, everybody's everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
most likely LinkedIn and YouTube.
Okay. Well, I think YouTube's just I think for everybody, it's just, you need to be on YouTube. It is a it's a video search engine, for Christ's sake, where people go to learn things. Okay. Yeah. Bar none, period. You need to be there. So, and then, maybe pick another platform or whatever. But I mean, I have gotten high-end, $10,000 clients in the most odd things that you'd ever imagine off of TikTok. Like, people are on TikTok. So, that place to me, and it's the most, as it stands right now, it is like the most juicy algorithm out there. Like, you can put something on TikTok and have 10 followers and it can get 100,000 views. And I mean, the videos that I have out there that get over 10,000 views, they're worth a lot of money to me. I mean, that I had a video, like I said yesterday, I put it out there. I didn't know, you don't ever know which video is going to do it, but I just put a simple video out there. It was like 50 seconds long, and I got like 113 leads from it.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, that would have cost me over $1,000 if I was running ads.
Yeah.
So it's just so important to, like, I just have a little, some people are like, and this is true, one offer, one platform, one funnel. 100% true. I say that too. But it's so damn easy. I literally sit here. I will create the little video. I share it to my phone, and I just post it on like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and Twitter. And I'm done. I'm like, I'm just going to stick it in all these places real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? I have no argument good enough to tell me why not to do it. Right.
Makes sense. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. 100%. If you have any other questions while we're going.
Yeah, of course. I'll be on all the time.
Sweet. No, this is listen, you're in the prelims of what's going to happen here, and it'll get more gangster as you guys work with me. Like, I can share all the stuff that I know and how I've been able to do what I'm doing, but without your feedback, it just doesn't work. So this is great. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, excellent. No, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So in the comments, Vinny, the model's very effective, was definitely a good end user experience when we spoke. The silence method is how I sold my pickup truck for my asking price. I saw that technique on TikTok and figured, yeah, it does work. Very good. Very helpful. Okay. Anybody who else has a question? Who's next?
Well, I guess I have a follow-up question. Let me put my video on.
Yeah, you guys turn your video on, man. So I can see you.
I still got that picture from last week.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question in regards to the content creation. So would you film, so in your example, you said, today I'm going to cover whatever information. This is step 4 of the 9-step process. Would you film all of those steps first? Would you release them in order? You know, I like what you've been doing with on your TikTok channel, like just kind of, I'm trying to learn from that and model some of that. But would you release those in order, or, you know, would you just like what would your strategy be when you're releasing that content?
So I'll tell you, you know, it's the same kind of strategy that I've been, you know, helping you guys with is I just, when I sit down, like truly, and I'll show you here because it just works the best if we just look at it here. What I do is, let me go right here. So this really is like my schedule right here. Okay. So this is, you know, AM, kind of like PM kind of thing, if you look at it like that, sort of. But what I do is, so this is at night, plan the next day, obviously. But in the morning, let's say it's 9 a.m. The night before, like tonight, before I go to bed, I will write down right here on my little pad or whatever scrap I can grab, okay? Or I'll just have note on my screen, and then when I turn my computer on, it's right there in my face. But I will think of the night before. What I'll do is I will go and I will look at my entire process. Okay. So I'll look at this map right here, and I'll be like, what do I want to talk about here? And I just, like, you know, picking a chocolate out of a box of chocolates, I'm like, I'm just going to talk about one of these things. I try to go for the thing that's the juiciest stuff. So like maybe tomorrow or something, I'll be like, you know, I'm going to talk about how I create these core lead magnets, right? So we can get leads. And so that's about as far as I think about it in that moment. And I just write that down, and I'm like, what are 3 of the biggest things that I need to, you know, cover in a video about how to make lead magnets that are going to make people go, damn, this guy knows what he's talking about. A, B, this shit is extremely helpful. Now I can do something, you know, I want them to be able to walk away with a nugget that they can actually apply right then and there. And then I want them to have context around where this fits and what it is. And so I just pick something inside of my process here, which is why it's so nice to have it and why I just told him to, you know, create this thing. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So then what I'll do is I literally come on here and I have this YouTube video scratch pad. Okay. And I just use it. Like this is the last video I just did. I stuck the thumbnail on there afterwards, just so I knew that, you know, this thumbnail would go to that. I come up with a headline. And what I did is I started with Chat GPT, and then I ended up adding the heart, balls, and math and some of this other stuff. I just took it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of good, but I'm going to put a little more fire into it. And so I came up with a headline, you know, and then I'm like, all right, what's this about, this content I'm going to do? Why does it matter to them? What's the challenge people have in relation to this topic we're going to be covering? And then I'm like, how do we fix it? And then what's the bigger picture? And then now what do I want them to do? And then what I do is on this, I make everything fit on this little tile right here. It's all got to fit on one slide for me. So I came in here, and these pictures, you'll recognize they're all out of my, out of this thing right here, right? So I just take the pictures out of that, and then I just cover things on here that are, you know, basically these steps that I laid out. I'm like, so how do we fix it? Well, the first thing is, what is the model that can set people free? So I showed them what the model was. And then I was like, how do we find a problem, create an offer, and market it without ads? So I showed them how I do that. And then I put, you know, the math that reduces fear makes things easy. So I put the math on here. And then I just added these other things here because I needed something to give context to. I'm like, now guys, what I just shared with you is literally just this part of a 9-part process. And I just gave you step 1 out of pillar 2. Okay. So if you want the rest of this, I need you to go over to Build Lab. And then I always, on all my stuff when I'm doing this, okay, whether it's on the board or I'm here, I always put like something somewhere where I don't really have to say it, but like I was talking on my video, I'm like, so you have the attraction, conversion, and delivery. And I know that they can see this shit. And I know that they're going to go snooping around and find it, as they do. And, you know, I'm just kind of always dropping subtle hints, you know, like when I'm talking about, I'm showing them how to do this with this. And I'm like, and that's how I do it inside of my Build Lab program that I have, where I teach you guys how to do this stuff. I say things like that. They're like assumptive closes, you know, I'm like kind of pre-closing them kind of deal. And so when I come up with these things, I don't release them in any such order. I'm like, hey, you know, today I'm going to talk about this part of my process. And then, you know, I'll talk about, I'll be doing videos about this step inside of pillar 4 here. I will do a video over this exact topic right here 1,000 times. I'll just use different examples in each one. And I'll probably have a different color of lamp on or a different hat or shirt, but I'll be using the same, because this is all, you know, if you're selling, you know, a calculator, like you got to figure out 1,000 different ways to talk about this thing, because it's your product and you're just trying to show them what you do to actually solve their problem. Again, why it's so important to create a visual of your solution. I can be like, you know, a lot of you guys are right here. You're trying to figure out, how can I make like $1,000 a day, right? And that's where you're trying to get. So what do? We got to, this is the model I use. I want to show you what this looks. And in their brain, they're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, I just got to follow these steps, you know? And then if they have questions, they're like, yeah, I got a question the other day. They're like, yeah, you were talking about step 4. Like, what do I do inside of that step? And I just share what we do, not how to do it. They got to pay for that. And so I just do this, and I'm literally covering the screen like this. And then once I get done shooting this video, which this one happened to be like 30 minutes long or something like that, which is a bit longer than I typically want to do, but I don't really give a shit. I'm like, you know, I'm providing a bunch of value, you know, if they can work their way through it. Right. And then I took a picture. I just freeze framed a part of me out of the video. And then I put my little, you know, eye candy thing on here. And then the background is just me, or just the screen that I recorded. So I just took elements from the actual video, made me a thumbnail, stuck it on here. And then I still have this video now. Let me show you. I still have this video inside of my ScreenFlow, which is where I recorded this thing. Let me get this. Oh shit, I'm pressing the wrong button. I keep the video inside of my player for a long time, right? So here, let's see, you can probably see this one. Okay. You see this little highlighted thing? Can you see this? Oh, we're connecting your audio. Okay. Tell me when you're, can you guys see my screen? Do you see this red thing on here?
I can see it.
Okay, cool. So this is the video that I recorded right here. This is the YouTube video, okay? See, it's like 30, the end of it here is 38 minutes or whatever. And then at the end, I just have like this little screen here. But this is me doing the actual video, right? You can go watch this video on YouTube right now, okay? And what I do, you'll see I've got all these little pieces cut out right here. These are all just shorts that I made. So here's how I do it. This is literally to a spec how I create these short form content. I go through here and I'm like, I just stick my cursor somewhere and I'll zoom in and I'll listen to it. And I'm like, well, that's kind of stupid. Let's go over here. See, maybe this is something. And I'm like, okay, he's talking. I usually think about like, if somebody's flying through these shorts, what is something where I'm talking in the video where I say something like, so what is blah, blah, blah? Because I want them to stop scrolling. So I'll just put it in here somewhere. And I'm like, okay, this is good. I look at the thing. It's at 6 minutes and 29 seconds. I'll cut it right there. And I'll go to 7 minutes and 29 seconds because I can only do a minute at a time. And I'll cut it. I'll grab these clips. I don't even know what they are yet. I copy them. And then what I'll do is, and I'll share the other one now. I have another ScreenFlow opened up. And that screen flow is set to vertical, right? Can you guys see that vertical one now? Okay, so I just came in here. I went to File, New, and then New Document, and I made vertical. I just clicked it to vertical, boom, clicked it, turned it on, and then I had this like blank canvas here. Let me actually just take this stuff out of here. I'll put this back here. And it's empty, and it's just so I come in here and I paste that video clip in here, and see how it's all exploded like it's huge. I take this clip and I just make it this big, and I know that this is going to be on TikTok, so I just like I make this smaller and I just fit it on here, and now they can see my screen. I click on my audio down here, and what I do there is I have like some, like, I made it sound kind of different. I usually just have your audio, yours will just look like this. Okay. And so what I do is I immediately, before I even like get in here and do anything, I just come in here and I just cut out all these gaps. I literally come here, I just cut this out. I'm like, nope, I don't need any stall time, because these people are on short form. They're like crackheads. They're like it's got to be faster. So I just chop out every moment where I'm like, so what I do, any pause, I just take it out, or where I'm like, so, or, I'm always saying shit like that. And I'm like, God damn it. Everybody probably thinks I was born in a friggin' barn, which I just about, I kind of was. And then, so, no, I'm just kidding, but I live in Kansas, so it's close enough. All these little oohs and ums and stuff. And then a lot of times I'll even take out like entire chunks of it until I can get it down to where it's less than a minute long. Okay. So this one's 53 seconds. And then what I'll do is I'll select them all, drag them down one. And then I made this little thing here that pops in, and it says free build lab demo. Go to makeonce.com. And I throw that in there because then people are like, oh, free. And then they go over to Make Once. And if they're the right person, they opt in. If they're the wrong person, they don't. And then I just go through this stuff, and I can click on like the little, these are two different clips. I got a video clip. This is me, the camera, and this is me. This is my screen. I can like zoom in on this stuff. And when they see this shit, first of all, they're like, what the hell? What is that? And then I'll click on it. If it's something kind of juicy, I'll just come in here and there's this call out button. I can add this, and I can like highlight something, and I can zoom it up. And then when I'm drawing on it, they're like, it's like they're, I'm showing, you see how it's like so much different when you've got something visual to show them? Or like if I'm up on the board, I'll do it up there. Did my camera just bug out? Sorry. If I'm up on the board, I've got something I'm always like trying to show them up there. And then when I'm done with it, I just go export, and then I just save it to my little short form. I got a little folder, short form. I name it something, and then I just share it to my phone, and I throw it up on the socials, and that's it, right? But it's so powerful when you have this roadmap. See how I'm talking about it in the video?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
What program is this?
So this one I'm in right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is ScreenFlow for Mac.
Is there anything like that for PC?
There is. It's called Camtasia. It's literally the same company, and they make a version of it for PC. And it's absolutely, I use this thing every day, all day. It's like $130 or something like that. And then you've got it. And every blue moon, once in a while, maybe once a year or something, maybe not even that, maybe every other year or something, you got to update it or upgrade it, for $30 or something like that, which I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm like, this thing has made me so much money. You don't even recognize it, right? But where you go to get it is Telestream. But look, do you see how fast I'm like flying through this stuff in here? You can make clips so quickly, because you can record your screen and you can record your camera. Or I could just take this off, and now I can create a short form video like this. And I know that there's like going to be captions down here, so I always try to leave this area kind of blank. And I don't care if it's like black up here and shit. They're not even, if they're paying attention to the black, then I'm really screwing up, you know? So, and then I get on here and that's it. I mean, you can look at this. You can do whatever the hell you want with this thing. I can add text on top. You know, I can come in here and just add some text so I can write whatever I want on it. And then I can make that come in and out whenever I want, you know, like, oh, like when it's amazing what you can do with this stupid tool. You can learn in 10 minutes what to do with it and how it works on YouTube, and you'd have the whole damn thing figured out in like no time. They've made these things pretty simple. Okay. Now I'm not trying to oversimplify it. I know if you're completely a computer illiterate, then it's, but I don't know, man. If you can follow simple instructions, you could probably figure it out. Let's see. Do you use a separate service to generate captions or just TikTok or YouTube generate? Nope. I use CapCut, and I actually created an entire video on YouTube for free on YouTube about this. And I think I put it in the One Build Lab, but I'm going to be, when we get to pillar 7, I'm going to literally take you through step by step, like how I record these things. And I'm going to take my other camera and record me recording something and take you through it that way. So you're going to know from the, you know, whole shabam. So you can literally follow it that way. But you know, that's what I do. I share it to you can see, like, I just, you know, I just share. I am basically just, when I do content, and it works really well. That's why I'm like pumped and telling you about this. I'm just recording and sharing with people what it is that I do in my day-to-day to help my clients and customers. And then I'm just showing that to them because that's why they're coming to me. It's like, if you want to sell a, you know, one of these, like a recorder, if this is your product, every day you're coming in here and you're like, now guys, today I want to talk to you about why we created this little folder button on here. Okay. And then I want to show you like how it works. That's all you're doing over and over. Maybe you sing country music and you talk about how it relates to country music. And then a week later you talk about, maybe you're a rapper, you know, and you're wondering, how do I record my raps and then save them in these folders? And it's like, this is all, you know, back here, it's look how easy it is to take the battery off. And I'm like, I'm struggling, but this is, you know, this is how you, this is how you actually, like, this is how you do it. And then you're like, now, if you want one of these, down in the description, I got a thing down there. You can go find you one. They're on sale, you know. Yeah. James says he wants to pick my brain. Go for it.
Okay, had to figure out how to turn my camera on.
Right on.
Can you see me?
I can see you. What's up?
Okay, cool. So, up until like this point, I've only made like physical products. So I'm trying to figure out how to, like, my big thing is like what do I do as a digital product? I'm like, what can I teach people? And like, my brain is like an engineering brain. So like, I don't know how to like flip my camera
Yeah,
around.
there should be like a little camera icon looking thing on there. Or just kind of, yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Boom.
Okay. So like I do things like this.
Oh, wow.
Where like, I had a problem where like my 3D printer isn't compatible with cardboard spools. So I had to figure out a way to re-spool it onto plastic spools that I printed. So I designed my own gears and everything.
God damn, I thought what I did was hard. No, that's awesome, man.
So I made my own re-spooler.
Brother, that is badass, man.
And then, of course, I live in Utah, and people like these models of the temples. And I had somebody who's like, well, can you put a light in one of those? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I could. And so I figured out a way that you can put lights in them where you don't even have a battery door. The battery's inside.
Nice.
Because you can use one of those 18650s, a little tiny charge controller, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so like I do stuff like that. Thing is, all of this stuff costs me money to make it,
Oh, wow. No.
right? So it costs me about $30 to make something that, granted, I sell these for $180. I make a
Mhm.
pretty penny off of them, but it costs me to make them and it costs me to ship them. And these little tiny things love to break, and customers love to complain that they break.
Mhm.
Trust me, they love to complain. So my thought is like, what if I could just simply teach people how to do the engineering side?
Dude,
Teach people how to do 3D printing.
it's like for sure you can do that. Like I would buy something about that because I think 3D printing is pretty awesome. I have a bunch of ideas that will never come to fruition, but the thought that matters. But yes, I absolutely know for a fact you can do that, right? Because not only is Vinny and I going to buy a copy, right? But like it's literally something that is out there already. Like anything, because that 3D printing thing, it's not something you're just like, oh, I'm gonna 3D print something. You know, it's like there's steps, right? So
Right.
100% you can. And it's what I love about that type of thing is it's not money related, although it can be, because you can show
It can
people
be.
all the way through the process of how you know, here's how to do 3D printing, and then here's how to do 3D printing and make money from doing it. So it's a beautiful model in that, right?
Right.
You'd be in the wealth niche, and it's like how to make money using 3D printing, you know, whatever. Okay.
Mhm.
So yes, you can have like, here's how to do it, and then here's how to make money from it. Okay. And what's beautiful about that is like, it's so easy to have your customers self-select, because you can be like, all right, so today I'm going to share with you, if you're somebody that wants to learn how to do 3D printing, here's 5 things that if you don't have these 5 things, the content that you can create is insanely, you know, simple if you know what you're doing, right? If you know the process, it's extremely simple. You can build one of those roadmaps, and it's like, you know, starting here, you don't know how to do 3D printing. At the end, you know how to make money 3D printing, and you know how to 3D print. So you can take them through the step 1, learning the how to 3D print. Step 2, learning how to set up your 3D printing business. Step 3, selling your 3D printing products. Right? So those are your 3 phases. Right. And then it's like you take them through that process, and you can show them, you know, what you're learning from me would be a part of your course. So you can show them how to sell what they made. And then you at some point you can peel off of that, and you can show them how you're showing them how to do it, right? Because some people are going to be just like you. They're going to be selling it for a
Part of
little
that
bit,
might
and then
be
they're going to
like,
go,
well, you know, so you wonder how to make a gear.
yeah. I mean, no, the amount of content that you could create is literally endless, because you're making things, so you can pull it in that way. But you're going to have you have several models off of this. Number 1, it's going to help you sell your own products, physical products. Okay.
Right.
Because you're going to be on a different level with it. Number 2, you're going to sell you could sell courses about this, which then those have super high profit margins, like 90+%. That's money that can be reinvested into making the product side that you you know, that can make that better. And then it also sells your products better, but then you're also going to have a model where people are going to want to know how to do what you do, all the way to the point of how you even sell digital products. Like you don't have to go that route with it, but it's just, that's what happens with it. You know, it just keeps opening up channels of monetization, but that would be such an incredibly easy market to get into, just because it's like when I was in the martial arts niche, right? It was like, if you're a martial arts business owner and you want to learn how to get students for your school, and you're using flyers, or you're going to trade shows, or you're walking around parking lots with a clipboard, and you don't like doing that, you're going to want to watch this video, because I'm going to show you how a funnel and works. It was so easy because every single time, within 15 seconds, I knew that the only other people that continued watching were martial arts business owners. So I was able to run a 7-figure business with less than 1,000 subscribers. I'd get like a couple hundred views on a YouTube video, and it would make me thousands of dollars, you know, because everybody that was those 300 people watching it were all martial arts business owners.
So here's my issue though. Clearly I'm not like super comfortable in front of the camera. And it's a little bit it's uncomfortable for me. So that's like outside of my comfort zone, which is probably good and bad. Like it's good to get outside of your comfort zone, but like sometimes it shows a little bit. But like I don't know how to explain this. Like I don't exactly know how to teach what I know. It's all locked in here. Like how do you get it from here and onto the screen to get people to buy it?
Yeah. So what I would do is, and I teach this to you in pillar 3, is we do what's called a brain dump. Okay. And sometimes it helps to get with somebody else in the community that knows absolutely jack squat about what you do. The least that they know about it, the better. And then to find somebody that maybe does know a little bit about it can be helpful too. You need like both sides sometimes. You don't have to do it this way. But what you're going to do is you're going to take inventory on your process and you ask yourself, okay, I'm sitting here. I'm going to start a project. I'm going to 3D print a keychain thing. Okay. What's the first thing that I do? And you're just going to like somebody's watching you with a clipboard. Okay. He did this first, then he did this. And you're going to have to take that inventory and you just do a brain dump. Like when I do a brain dump at first, I'm like, well, you need you need traffic, you need a funnel, you need a website, you need emails. So you're going to need these softwares. You're going to need, and I just put it all out there and it's not in any kind of order. Then I start to like put it in order. I'm like, okay, funnel stuff all goes over here, website stuff all over here, email stuff all over here, ad stuff or marketing stuff all over here. And then I start to be like, okay, well, this comes before this, and I'm moving it around. I just use that Miro thing that I'm always scribbling on that, I just use like one of those tools. Sometimes a Google Doc is the best. I literally put like number 1, number 2. And I'm like, no, it can't be that. These need to be moved around. And you take it through that. And then you start branching it into like the main pillar stuff, right? Because everything does this, right? Like it's like chapters of a book. There's sub chapters inside of each chapter. Then there's paragraphs. Then there's sentences. Then there's words and then letters. Everything works this way, right? But if you don't get it, first you got to get it out of you. The fact that you're engineer minded is great. You can literally, like I said, once you get it all out of you and you've got your course laid out, kind of like how you're going to do it and what it's going to look like, then what you can do is you can literally create one of those maps like I did, right? That little thing, and I'll show you how to do it. Very simple. And then when you're doing your marketing and stuff, the moment you turned your screen around on here and you're like, look at this thing, that was perfect. Because I guarantee you right now, if I asked you, I'm like, James, can you explain what the hell I'm looking at here on the screen? Like, how did you get it? Like, what's the program? Like, how would I build a 3D model like that I can look at and determine, and you could probably just go nuts and you could probably put me to sleep with all the information, right? And that's what you need, right? Because those programs are complex. I mean, I know that you don't just sit down and whip one of those out, right? Like
well, I do.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's why you're able to teach it. So what you have to do is you just need to break down, and this is why you get paid. Some people are like, oh, everybody knows how to do that. But and I used to say the same thing. I'm like, dude, no, everybody knows how to do a freaking funnel. Like everybody knows that. And Michelle, my girlfriend, she's like, dude, nobody knows even know what the hell you're talking about. And I'm like, okay, and she's like, so, and then I would explain the dumbest things to people and they're like, oh my God, like for you get paid because you already did the 10 years of work to figure out how to run that program like it's, checking the mail, right? So by you being able to take something complex like that and basically bring it down and at the end of the day, synthesize it so that it's simple, That's why you're going to make the money that you make. The reason I make the money that I make is because I can take somebody through those steps and get them out the other end of it. If you can actually get a complete newbie or somebody that bought a 3D printer and it's collecting dust because it was a lot harder than what they thought it was, if you can get them to actually be able to do it, it's amazing, right? Like that's a huge.
Most people that get them, you know, if they do set it up, they go on printables or whatever, and they just download something because they don't know how to make stuff on their own.
But they want to.
You know, they want to. They're like, oh, well, I've got this great idea, but they don't know how to put it, you know.
If you can show somebody how to bring one of their ideas to fruition through a 3D printer, you're going to be a god to them. Seriously, like that's.
And once they've gotten that first one, they're going to be hooked.
Oh yeah, so that's the thing. And then when you can show them how to monetize what they're making, if they so choose. Obviously, if they don't want to, they won't. You know, they won't be interested. But there's going to be a high majority of people. They're going to be like, I want to sell these things, right? That Tesla rocket, or I always say Tesla, that SpaceX rocket, that's all 3D printed. I think I spent like $250 on that damn thing, but I freaking love it, man. I love that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm
but
like,
you realize it's like $20 worth of plastic.
Yeah, I know it's freaking nothing.
It's the plastic is the cheapest part of it.
And it's some hardcore shit. You beat the hell out of somebody with that. Yeah. No, it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I get it, dude. I'm pumped about, like, when that thing came, I was like, I knew what I was going to be getting because I'd bought other little 3D printed things. But I was like, man, this is freaking badass. And people talk about that thing all the time. Like, where'd you get that? I'm like, dude, this is custom. Like, I ordered it from this guy. I told him what I wanted, you know, and it's like, that is so cool. And, you know, absolutely. I've got another little thing that I ordered right here. One of these little freaking, because I just love this shit. I love space stuff, but that it's
one of my most popular things. And it's such a simple thing. And I still own the original prototype, is that right there.
Oh yeah.
And this is made from recycled wood and plastic. This is 30% recycled maple.
No, that's amazing, man.
And
I mean, so
it's custom made just for that.
No, 100%. And I think, like, all you have to do, it's a process, right? So you have to, like, sit down and you got to be like, okay, I'm going to start a project and I'm going to create X. Okay. What is the first thing that I do? Like, if you're going to create this thing, it's like, what is step one? I send this to you. I'm like, hey man, I want you to make me one of these pin holders. You know, what is the first step that you do? And you just have to take the time. What I do, since my stuff's all like on the computer, like what I'm doing right now, I'll go up to ScreenFlow, which is what I'm using right now. Or no, I have Zoom recording this, but I usually record my screen with ScreenFlow and I just do the job. And then I watch it back and I'm like, oh, but what you can do to save time, you can just record yourself doing everything and kind of like talking. I'll literally sit here. I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. And I'm talking to myself. I'm not even talking to, like, I'm not even creating a training for somebody. I'm just like talking out loud while I'm doing something. I'm like, now I'm doing this and it's not perfect, but then you can send it to somebody on Fiverr and they'll break it down into steps for you for like $25. Oh, nice. And then you can get those steps back and you can take and refine it down from there.
At the very least, it'd be a good way to get practice with it.
Yeah. And you can also, there's probably somebody already out there, I know there is because I've looked it up, that teaches you how to do 3D printing stuff. And you can just go get their program or their book or their course, and you can see kind of how they put it in order. And then you can create a better mousetrap. And so it's like, that's kind of what you know how many people teach the shit that I'm teaching? Like, I mean, it's mind boggling. Like, it's like too much, right?
Well, a lot. Do you know how many affiliate marketing courses I've paid for that went nowhere? And it's just frustrating.
Yeah. So it's like, for me, I'm like, okay, how can I overcome that right there? Right. Because I've done the same thing. I've spent thousands of dollars on a course to get nowhere, you know? And I'm like, all right, this has got to be, I've got to do something that makes this different, you know? And so it's like, how do you make a 2020 Porsche 911 Turbo S? How do you make that a better car in 2023? right? It's like, how do they keep
Right.
making it better? You know, it's like, holy shit, you know, and it's like, that's all you're doing. People are not going
Mhm.
to ever not want to know how to do this stuff. 3D printing is just barely cracking the surface in my, it's like, we haven't even, it's still like a weird thing off in the corner still, frankly, you know what I mean? And unless you're
Right.
completely into it, then it's like, it's everywhere, you
Or
know, it's old
you're
news.
taking a roll of plastic and you're getting somebody to, to pay $200 for it.
Yeah. And I mean,
And they
it's,
do, because I mean, you're taking $30 of plastic and electronics, and you're getting somebody to pay $180 for it. And they do. I can't keep these in stock.
dude, I get it. I mean, like, it's insane, you know, what people, I mean, but it's, I mean, people buy freaking succulents and put them in a little, you know, I mean, this shit's still, I bought this thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like, so it's,
But the thing is, this is a hobby, and the frustrating side of it though is that I have to listen to the printer running 24/7, even while I'm sleeping, to be able to pay the bills, unless I want to go out and do construction or whatever and break my back. I
so
would much rather sit at a desk for 3 or 4 hours and then go hang out with the kids.
yeah, well, that's exactly how it goes. Right before I got on this call, I was out at the lake kayaking for like, it's what I do for my exercise. I was out there for like 45 minutes. And it's like, it's sweet that you can, you know, operate. I've done calls, I've done these Zooms and stuff like this on a kayak. I just bring my computer and I just sit on there with this little like table thing that I got. And I was like, this is it, man. This is sweet. But what I'm sharing with you is this: during the gold rush, you know where the money was made, right? It was made in selling shovels.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, yeah, you can make money selling 3D printed objects, but you can probably make 1,000x showing people how to make money selling 3D products.
That was my thought after talking to you on TikTok.
I mean, that's what if I was you learn okay. So the e-learning industry, which is like literally one of the fastest growing industries, they say it's supposed to be close to $1 trillion industry by 2030. It's already at like $1 billion a day right now, which is unreal to me. But if you don't know how to do something, you can't do it. And we're in this like information, you know, creator age. And the interesting thing about it is learn a skill and teach a man to fish, right? It's like learn a skill, be able to consistently get the same outcome with it, to a place where you can turn around to your friend and teach them. Okay. Teach them how to fish. Teach them. That's it. Teach them how to fish. That's the whole model here. I learned how to do funnels. I learned how to do the marketing stuff. I learned, and it's a constant practice. It's not like, oh, you're done now. You know everything. You know, it changes, right? So it's like, and people, it's crazy. Like I thought that, like I even at one time thought my market was saturated. And if you get it, and if I open my phone, it is saturated because all they're showing me is that shit, because that's what I'm into. That's what I do. Other people are like, dude, I never see that shit on my phone. I never see.
But you know what's saturated? And this is coming from somebody that like I've researched a lot of this, because this is something that like I've tried to figure out how to get into this market from way, and I don't have knowledge in this. I've been trying to get it. It's saturated in the $1,000 programs. Where you're coming in is you're in the less than $100 program and going, look, I'm going to come in a subset of going, I'm going to make this available to the common person so that you can afford the $1,000 program and the $10,000 program to get where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like that, and I also look at it like I know how much this industry is changing all the time and how things advance. And I'm like, to me, if I can have a couple thousand people paying me $97 a month, there's not a damn thing I can't do in my life. And there's if I can help 1,000 people, help 1,000 people, I just helped 1,000,000 people. So I'm like, that's how I'm looking at this. And it's like, I know I'm going to be doing this for the next 30 years at least, right? Unless I get hit by a bus or some shit. So I'm like, if I just consistently try to help people every day and I build a community, I mean, I know people that are doing what I'm doing. Well, Andrew Tate, for instance, good, bad, or indifferent, that's not the point here. The point is he's got over 200,000 people paying him $49 a month. I'll let you do the math. That's ridiculous. And it's like, what I'm sharing with people is, I mean, I've got clients that have went and made $1 million with this information, right? So like what, you know, the value of it is I'll never be able to charge you what it's worth. And so for me, like, just like with you, you can just teach people what it is that you do. And at the end of the day, all we're doing outside of actually delivering on the promise, okay, we're building a list of people that have the problem that we can solve. So you're building a list of people that want to be able to be really good with 3D printing, and or maybe you've got maybe one product that's like how to do 3D printing like a gangster. And then your next product, maybe that one's, you know, whatever. Okay. I mean, we can talk about pricing later, but you've got that one. And then you've got the next one, level up, is, okay, now you know how to do 3D printing, but how do you actually monetize it and sell it as a business? How do you sell these things? That's next level, right?
Right.
And then some people are going to be like, well, James, I want to work like with you, man. Like you know, and then you can charge, you know, high
Then you're
ticket for that.
charging your $100 a month for that.
Yeah, or more. I mean, you know, like if I were you teaching a 3D printing course, just like regular, I would do a recurring revenue model, and I would just charge like, you know, maybe $97 a month or $67 a month, and treat it like a magazine subscription. If you're on, you get access to it. If you're not, you don't.
Like a Patreon kind of thing.
Yeah, just because, man, what if you had 1,000 people giving you $49 a month?
That I'd never have to work outside the house again.
That's right. What if you had 500? What if you had 200 people giving you $100 a month, $50 a month?
Dude, it'd be life.
Dude, that is, I've seen people do that in less than 90 days.
That'd be
and
sick.
have no clue what the hell they're doing. What you need to have is an offer. Hey guys, here is my 9-pillar program that shows you how to become a proficient 3D printing expert. Okay. Or just be able to create what you want with 3D printing. Okay. There's your offer. All right. It is a pre-recorded program. It is a weekly call, and they get a private group that other people like them can get into, make friends with, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. That's your program. All right. You can charge, I mean, seriously, you can charge anywhere from 40, I wouldn't go less than $49 a month, all the way up to $397 a month, and people will pay it 100%. There's always somebody. Frankly, the more you charge, the more they'll think it's good, right? It's harder to sell cheap stuff than it is expensive stuff. I'll promise you. Okay. And so, you know, I would say just charge $97 a month. Okay. $67 a month, whatever. Somewhere in there. Those are great price points. 49, 67, 77, 97. Those are great price points. Okay.
Right.
And all you're doing each day is you're gonna set up a funnel that they can, it's like, hey guys, here's the I'm gonna share with you in this free training. I'm going to share with you what the core steps are to becoming very good at 3D printing, even to a point where you can have a product that's really able to be sold quite simply because it's so nice. So go ahead and opt in. We're going to cover these 3 things in this free training. Boom. That's your email list builder. In the next page, you got a video where you're showing them what you do, not how to do it. So the first thing I do is I lay it out. Then
So wait
you
a
don't.
minute. So what you do, not how you do it. Explain that.
So if I was going to show you what I do, not how to do it, I would do something like this. I would be like, all right, so in this video, what I'm going to be sharing with you is I'm going to show you what we do to build an e-learning business in no time. Okay. It's just a simple 3-step process. So the first thing, what you need to do is you need to figure out and understand that business model. So the business model is simple. Okay. And then I say, then you need to figure out who your perfect customer is. So you know who to sell. I'm telling you what to do. You're learning.
All right.
I have the right person watching this because otherwise they wouldn't have opted in. And then I'm like, then you need to build a product. So what you need is you need to build a roadmap just like this. And in their mind, they're going, oh yeah, shit, I got this shit. Yeah. And then they buy the 3D printer, they turn it on, and they're like, what the do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing that happens here. People will watch this stuff and they see the vision of it, which is the core of what I'm trying to get them to see. Like, this will solve the problem. And so I'm just showing them what we do. What we do is we go through these 3 phases and they're learning. They're like, okay, so I need to know, I need to have my business model laid out, what that is. I need to figure out my customer. And this is great. This is valuable if you don't know this shit, right? And then I'm like,
Right.
okay, then you need to have an offer amplifier video, but I don't show them how to create that actual video.
Gotcha.
Now, in some videos, I do kind of go into how to create some of this stuff, but they can't tie it all together. They can't, their brain doesn't fit it all together. Because it's too complex.
Well, that's why we're here.
Right. But you would have never got here if I couldn't articulate it out enough to where you could see the end of the game. You would be like, well, I don't get it. Like, huh? So that's why it's so important to have this. And you can make this thing look however you want. I've made these things look like, you can make it all. I don't care what it looks like, as long as it's a path they can follow, like a map,
So in my context, it'd be like, okay, cool. You got your printer turned on.
Yep.
And they'd be like, yeah, it's turned on. Now what?
Yeah. So what you're going to do though is this, like when I get somebody into my VSL video, I know that only 1% probably of people are going to sign up after they watch that video. Okay. And I know that a good 30% are just never going to buy anything from me. They'll just be like, they'll consume everything I create. They'll get excited about everything. They may buy little products and programs here and there, but they're just never going to pull the big trigger, right? They're just going to be more of like the hobbyist or, whatever. And then I know that other 60+%, 60 to 65, 68% somewhere in there that do buy, it's all going to come from the email follow-up. Right. And so in the emails, what I do is email number 1 that goes out. I start talking about, well, first off, the first emails that go out. Okay, let me back this up. The very first emails that go out are the first like 10 emails are pretty much like, hey, yesterday you came and watched this video and I noticed you didn't sign up. Maybe you need to go back and watch that video again so you can understand why it matters, why it's such a good reason to sign up, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm kind of like, hey, it's not so much about delivering a bunch of value as much as it is like hitting the iron while it's hot. I'm like, they came in and they watched this. I knew that they had this like idea of like starting a business. That's why they're watching this. And I want them to, I'm trying to get those people that are right there on the edge or right on the fence. I'm trying to get them to commit right away. But
Yeah,
I know
that
that's a
was me.
small percentage. Well, I know that's a small percentage of people. The only reason you committed so quickly is because you told me earlier, you said, I've been consuming all this shit already. You were already warmed up to the idea before you got to me. Most people, they heard about this. Their friend was talking about it at a dinner last night, how they made $200 on the internet. And this is the first time they ever heard about it. And they're coming to me and they found something like this on TikTok. I just happened to show up because I'm posting all the time. And they came over and checked it out. And this is like a completely new concept, world, everything to them. And they're like going to go through this and watch it. Well, after I, try to get the sale right away from those that are ready, like the James that are ready, that have been pre-inoculated into this world a little bit, then there's the other ones that aren't. So I know after those 10 emails where I'm pushing pretty hard to get them to come sign up, if they don't get signed up, it's because they're not educated enough to know that this is awesome, this matters, or they're just literally not going to ever do it. They're not that person. So that's fine. Those people are those people. I love them, but and then they're kind of like, they become advocates. So they may not buy from you directly, but they know so much about it because they've consumed all your shit that they're never going to buy, that they'll tell their friends about it, and their friends will end up buying. So that's why those people are important.
So that's like a
But
third party
yeah,
referral
yeah,
that
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to pay for.
Yeah, because somebody will be like, man, I fucking hate my job. Oh, there's this Mike guy. He talks about how you can make money on the internet, and then they somehow they come into my world that way. So you got to love everybody. But the ones that are going to buy, that it is their first time, after those first 10 emails where I'm trying to like really bam, 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 then I start going into, I'm like, so how does this model really work? And that's email maybe 11. And I kind of just go over what the model is again, and they're starting to learn a little bit more. And they're like, oh, now I see. I get. So you got traffic, it goes to a landing page, then a value page. Okay, got it. Okay. And then you get, okay, all right. And now they're starting to go, I can do this. And then if they still didn't buy, which a majority won't, I'm like, all right, so in this next email, I'm going to be like, so how do you've got the model figured out, but how do you figure out like your offer and what the customer, who's going to buy this thing? This would be like email 12. And then I just keep strapping these on. And that's how I work, that because I have this roadmap that I can take them through, I have something that as these emails come out, it makes sense in their mind. And then when they get into the program, they're like, oh God, it's just like he said. And then in the marketing, then when they go see the next video out there and they see this map again that I've been showing them through emails, they're like, oh yeah, I get this now. And so that's when I call it like fractal marketing method, because no matter how far in I go or how far out I go, it's all the same. It looks all the same and it all is the same pattern and feel, but I can go right in and right out, and I can zoom in and zoom out, and I have endless amounts of content that always falls into context with what the whole thing is. And then email 13 goes out. And then I'm also, while these emails are going out, I'm also creating, the video that I create to send to them is the video that I put out on YouTube. And I just send it to them, and it's talking about this step. Well, then I chop this video up into little shorts that go out on all the little short platforms. And you see how this all starts to mix together and it's like all the same?
Right.
Is that making sense?
And then you're never the annoying guy that's sending out the mass emails. It's always something fresh and new.
And you never have to be like, and then come on down to Bill's shack and buy it while you can. You're never that guy. You're always like, here's how this solves your problem. So when you said, well, I'm an engineer mindset, that's how you sell something. If you go to any website, I'm talking about like people that are multi-billion-dollar companies. If you go to Tesla, you go to any of those websites, you go to Apple, you go to any of them, they're going to show you the product. And then as you go down the page, you're going to learn about the camera, the resolution, the battery power. And then they're always going to relate it back to the whole phone, why that matters. And then they're always going to show Sally over there taking a picture of her girlfriend on her birthday with the camera so that you can connect it to how this matters to you. And then they're going to be telling a story. Yeah, Bill, his camera, he dropped it in the river and they just filmed the whole thing on his iPhone. And now he went to the music or the video festival and he got taken in by Warner Brothers. And now he's and it's like those stories help people see the whole thing together. But at the end of the day, you're educating them and you're telling stories. So like I could tell a story about this. I could go into the details of it. I can get into the knickknacks of it. I can talk about how this thing works for 3D printer people. I can say how it works for website builders. I can say how it works for people that do control access. I can say how it works for people that teach online business. I can say and it's like, and you could do the same thing. Here's how to 3D print tools for your office, for your shop, for your neighbor, for your dog, here's how to build a website for your construction business or for your 3D printing business, or it's endless. Here's how to do control access for your farm shop. You got your tools are getting stolen. It's everything. You're showing how your thing is relatable to the market. And here's where people mess up. Okay, here's what most people do. They create a business where it's like it's customer centric. So it's customer centric, and they're building a product per the customer. Okay. It's like this product for this customer. We're building
Because that's how
something,
we're taught.
right? We're building something that's like this. We are product centric, and we show by having this model over here, we become invincible and endless. Like who's an iPhone all for? Well, it's for who it can be for Farmer John, it can be for Surfer Ted, it could be for Homemaker Sally. So this is product centric. Oops, product centric is spelled with a C. And then this is customer centric, okay? But I can show how my product relates to the farmer. I can show how it relates to the 3D printer guy. I can show how it relates to the website builder. I can show how everything, right? Now all of a sudden, your TAM, your total addressable market, just became enormous, but it's still it's like you're niching, but it's different. Like I could show how this can just work for farmers. Okay. Here's how farmers can build an email list of people that have cattle so that they have the best cattle at the show. You know, I could show everything, how it works to everybody. And I'm not in a place where, you know, I built this product and it's only for these types of people. So that's a customer centric model. We want to be product centric. How you become product centric is by taking what it is that you do, turning it into a perfect product roadmap so that we can see the map out of the woods. And then you just, by creating this thing, you've created all your emails, you've created all your social media posts, you've created all your website copy, you've created all your email copy, you've created every single thing that you need to do in your business to grow it and to help people understand why it matters. It all lives right here, because what else the hell would you talk about? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. No, yeah.
So, and then, you know, when I'm doing my content, I'm not out there. It's like, if you want to sell somebody something, you show them how it solves the problem. You don't have to be like slickery dickory dock. You know, you just need to be like, all right, guys, in this video, like I said here, like this YouTube video that went out, this video is doing great, by the way, like, especially on like TikTok. See, I love this because when I create a long form piece of video like this, it supplies me with emails, endless amounts of emails I could pull off of this one video. I could talk about just in the video, be like, how do you figure out the math behind $1,000 a day? That could be the subject line for the email. I just sent them this video, or I can just send them this part of the video. So it's endless amounts of that. And all I did was I just showed them in this right here. I literally, I called it, you know, breaking the slave, the online business model that can set you free. If you have the heart to do it, the balls to actually make it happen, you know, actually take action. And then if you understand this math to $1,000 a day, you can have freedom. Okay. And so that I know is going to attract a certain part of the market. This is more of the opportunity seeker. They hate their job. They want to replace their income. I know it's that. I could do another video on this exact thing, and I could say something like, you know, you might have a business right now or a side hobby, and you're wondering, how can I replace that, you know, to be able to do something that it's not so intensive on this and this. Or I could say, maybe you're doing a couple $100,000 a month right now with your company, and you're really unsure as to what model would work best in order for you to create marketing that's not just like everybody else. So let me show you down here how this actually works. And I could I could do it that way. I could take so many angles on this. You know, there's a big myth out there that you've got to have all this traffic and all this stuff to make $1,000 a day. Actually, the truth is you need about 100 leads per day, and that'll get you about one sale per day. And if the lifetime value of a customer is $1,000, that's how you can get to $1,000 a day, is you need to get 100 leads a day. Well, how can you get 100 leads a day? Well, I talk about that in some other videos, and I'll talk about that maybe tomorrow or whatever, but you're just bringing them in. And every time, it's kind of like a girlfriend or a boyfriend. The more you hang out with them, pretty soon, you know, pretty soon it's 20 years later, and, you know, you've got grandkids and shit. You know, it's like, so it's just what are the components of the stuff. Like I could just do a video over just this. This is just a piece of this. So this little thing here is in step 2, and it's just one part of pillar 2. And I could take that one part of pillar 2 and peel a little piece out of that and create a long form 10-minute video just talking about, so who would you help for free? You know, and I could go into like just figuring that part out. And that's why I say it's like a fractal. And so when you talk about creating content, because this is everybody's saying, I don't like being on camera, I'm not comfortable with it. I get it. I get that. But you don't have to be some kind of personality or anything. I don't need to have personality. I need to see the map. I need to see how it works. That's what's going to get me to buy this thing, not your glowing personality, right? Matter of fact, the more you can be, you know, the people you want to worry about when they're like, all right, guys, in this video, listen to me, man. Like that, those people, I'm like, well, I'm out of here, you know. But maybe some people.
Yeah, those are the annoying people, the ones that yell on YouTube.
Yeah, they're like, you're gonna lose in life, you know. Like it's like, you know. But listen, for some people, you know, I don't know, different strokes. But all I'm saying is like, all these videos are about the same thing. Look, this video marketing hack pays one long. This video marketing hack pays one long into many shorts. And I just literally went into like, I literally was talking about, I had the hook written on here. I was like, guys, here's the hook for the video. And this is what I said in the YouTube video. And people still were like, man. And I was like, so here's what we're going to cover. And then I zoomed out and I like started talking about this. I create things like this too. Okay. And I'm just showing them like, you take the traffic, you go here. And I get a lot of engineering type people because I do this shit. And this is like, you know, engineering 101 kind of thing, you know, like they see this shit and they're like, oh, okay. Here's another one I'm going to do about the YouTube. So like all of this perfect product roadmap here, maybe I'll do this one tomorrow, Vinny. I don't know. But this video here, it's like this perfect product roadmap that I've been talking to you about. Each one of these steps now that I have this roadmap can be turned into playlists on my YouTube. And then every video that I create that's about this topic would go into this playlist. Because see, now I can just be like, all right, I want to talk about the endless lead generator. All right, well, what's all involved in that? Well, I can ask myself, you know, what are all the steps in the endless lead generator? And then I could be like, all right, let's talk about this part of it. I can peel that out and I can create a video on that, a long form video. Maybe I'll spend 10 minutes on it. Okay. And just break down one of the pieces in there. And it's good training. You're literally showing them
on what's a lead and how to get one.
Yeah. And then I can talk about that. Then I can split this thing up into a bunch of shorts. I can email this to my list now. I can put it in my playlist on YouTube. And then I can also take this thing and I can turn it into a bunch of pictures on something. I could screenshot pictures and then I could write a little description under it and I can stick that on Instagram or Pinterest or it's like, you see how one thing becomes everything? And it's like, that's where you have endless amounts of content. And then I always relate it back. So like towards the end of this video, so the start of the video, you got the hook, you got the value or story, some people call it hook value. And then the offer towards the end, you're like, so you're probably wondering like, okay, well, cool. So what do I do with all this? Well, honestly, listen, this was just what I shared with you today. This was just, this is part of number 4 here. And it was just one step out of that entire module inside of our Build Lab program. This whole Build Lab program is just 3 phases and it takes you all the way through this. So if you want to learn more about that, down in the description, I've actually got a link down there. It's a free training where I walk you through this entire process of how I show people how they can sell digital products and programs and subscription programs. And you know, they can get into the top 1% earning income, which is around $1,000 or more per day. Now, some people go well on beyond that, but if we can get to at least that, we can worry about those other levels later. Because if you can do that, you can just keep doing more of what you did to do that to get to those higher levels. So if you want to see that, and now I just brought it all back together instead of just talking about lead magnets or whatever. I'm always bringing it back to, and that's just one of the buttons on the iPhone. And you're like, holy shit, if that's just one splinter of one piece of this step, I can't imagine what the whole thing's like. And all I'm doing is just literally giving you solid ass, good, valuable content. You walk away with a couple, huge value points, and people are like, damn, if this is his YouTube and TikTok shit, I can't imagine what hanging out with him on a Monday night on a Zoom's going to be like. You know what I mean? And then this is it. It's like you have endless amounts of content. My offer amplifier video. This is my VSL video. Okay. I just put these slides together, and the biggest problems, the first thing I think about when I put together one of these videos is like, what's the biggest problem? What are the big 3 problems people have that want to do this stuff? And I start there. The biggest problem people have in my industry, or, trying to go from, trying to have impact and income goals and stuff like that, is they get into this shit and there's too much tech and info overwhelm. Then there's this guru overwhelm where there's like all these people saying the same thing in a million different languages. So it's like so confusing. And then there's no clear roadmap of how to actually do it. So if I can identify these things, and just like you did, James, you were like, that's what I'm trying to get the person that's watching this to do. And they go, yep, this is exactly what I'm dealing with. This guy, there's no way he could know that unless he actually knows what he's talking about. And I just walk them through.
Because I have faced that exact same problem.
That's right. And so the way I start the video is I'm just like, hey, I'm going to unlock the secret to earning more while working less so you can get paid for your knowledge instead of your time. You're going to master
that one.
This is already up and ready.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You can just go to my, holy shit, I lost all those damn files. Damn it. I had these things behind it.
Good thing it's posted.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, no, it's not. Here it is. Oh, that thing just got moved up. I was like, oh shit, I thought I lost all the. Anyway, so yeah, this is the VSL video. Okay. So when somebody goes to my website and they opt in to watch the free demo, this is the video I take them through. So I'm like, after this slide, I'm like, so if you're ready to break free from the monotony of your 9-to-5 grind and start living life on your own terms, the cliche patented thing, and you want to work with just a computer, phone, and the internet connection and generate daily income that's steady, and you want to do that in less than 90 days, which is completely possible, okay? I didn't say you'd be buying Rolls Royces. I said you can start making a steady stream of income, recurring revenue. And then I can show you how to work from anywhere because you just need the internet. And then I'm like, if this is what you want to do, keep watching. And then I'm like, hey, my name's Mike. I'm the guy here helping you with this. If you're a coach, consultant, mentor,
I've seen this.
Okay.
I have seen that video.
Yeah. So I take them through that. And then I'm like, pay attention. And then I give them some real facts here. I'm like, look, you don't think this is a good industry to be in? Well, look, here's what it's about to do in the next so-and-so years. Here's what Entrepreneur Magazine said about it. Here's what ChatGPT-4 said about it. Here's the reasons why these are the top 10 benefits of an online program. Here's what Business News Daily said about it, what blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like giving them some verifiable facts that they can go, okay, yeah, all right. And then I'm like, so what is this thing? Well, real quick, before we get into it, because a lot of people wait too long to just make the offer. I'm like, if they've already opted in based off my landing page, they're already in the mindset, right? So I'm like, so I've got this new program for you. It's called Build Lab. And then I go, here's what it is. And when they see this right away, they're like, holy shit. Every part, I can go into my stats right now and everybody keeps replaying this slide right here because it shows all the stuff, shows all the candy, right? Look, the gear shifter, leather seats, it's got gauges, heads up display, slotted ported disc brake. It's like, that's what they're seeing, right? And then I'm like,
so if we're making ours, we need to have some kind of screen that is going to make them keep replaying.
Well, brother, I mean, that's what I'm telling you. Make this thing. This is just literally the slides out of the course, the actual stuff that I'm teaching in the course.
Right.
So I screenshotted it and stuck it in the same order because this is this, this is this, right? So this is that thing that they got to go through. Okay. What you guys are going to going through. So I show them that and I'm like, it's called Make Once. Here's the roadmap. And then I'm like, here's we've got a community. Okay. Here's the inside the course. There's a classroom, a calendar, members. And then here's the videos that you can learn. You can search up here. And so I'm just showing them some of these things real quick. This is like, I spend like seconds on this slide. I'm like, you can access it from your phone. And all I did was I found these little pictures and I just screenshotted things and stuck them in there and made them fit in there with some Photoshop crap. And then I'm like, here's what you'll be able to do. Create your lead magnets, emails, sales videos. I just showed them what they would all could do. And then I'm like, so honestly, I'm so confident that you'll discover how unique and powerful this program is that this thing's like freezing up on me. I'm like, I go that I'm willing to offer this program to you that I normally charge, thousands of bucks for, which is completely true. You can get started for as little as $97 because they can start at it's 97. It's like $1,149 a year if they pay 97 bucks a month for the whole year. Okay. And because I give them live bi-weekly Q&A calls and I keep updating the training and they get a private community and accountability, most of them stay for over a year. I mean, some of my clients have been with me for 5-6 years that have been paying me that. Okay. And then I go through this. I'm like, here's you have this vision. And then all these shiny objects show up when you go to try to figure it out. And then you hit this wall. And then after you hit that wall, it looks like this, doesn't it? Info and tech overwhelm. Guru. And then by the time what actually happens, by the time you've hit that wall with all the stuff, no clear roadmap, your impact and goals just go straight to the cemetery. Rest in peace, them things. And you're over here all wrinkled up wondering what the hell happened here. I thought I was going to do this. And so they're like, and then I'm like, so if you feel that way, so in the beginning, like I hooked them in, I said, we're going to learn this. And here's how I kind of like, talk about who it's for is by kind of, saying this, introduce myself, of course. Okay. And I'm like, let's get into it. Here's you need a roadmap, you need the right system, and then you can actually achieve this. So what is this thing that I'm talking about? Well, let's look at it. So pillar one, and then I'm teaching them as I go through this. I'm like, in pillar one, it's the business model. Okay. And I'm like, what is the business model? So if you're wondering what's the best model, and then I talk about the model a little bit, and that's how you educate them in this while selling them basically at the exact same time by just educating them on that. Right. So I'm like, if you're wondering like, what's the model, what and then I go into it and I'm like, here's the model. I just show them like, here's the model. You need to create a 9-pillar program that has 27 modules. Okay. And then I explain why, because, we break it down and then I'm like, here's how you make money. This is the model. And I'm just showing them what we do. And and they see stuff like this, like here's part of my fractal marketing method where I take the long form, I chop it up into a bunch of shorts and I distribute it on each of these things. Then I email it to my list and they're like, oh yeah, now I don't even need this guy. I got this. And then they get in there and they're like, oh shit, this is not what you thought. I thought it was going to be easy, and I'm like, and then I literally show them, I'm like, look, here's how you set up your funnel. Okay. This is the automated conversion. And people are like, dude, why are you showing them that? Like, dude, they're not even going to need you. I'm like, listen, if they can watch this video right here and they can go in and set this shit up right here, they was never going to buy from me to begin with.
They didn't need you.
Yeah, they didn't need me. They're not my customer. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm trying to sell it to the person that when they look at this, it looks like freaking calculus. You know what I mean? But I'm saying it in such a way that it's simple. I'm like, okay, so, and it all makes sense to them. So they're like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, then you need some sort of delivery. And it's called hybrid delivery because it's part live. I go live with my people each week to help them. And I'm just telling them what I do with my clients. So they assume that they're the client and they're like, oh, so that means I would get that. So I'm like, so here's what you really want. If you want a good online program, here's how it needs to go. This has been the best model for me. You need to provide live weekly support because that's what I do. People that are part of my Build Lab, they get 2 live calls each and every week where they can jump on, ask me questions. I'll help them through the whole process. and they get that for as long as they're a member. So very cool. Then you need to have a private support community for people because they need support, right? They need to have that help. And so that's why you know, like my clients, they get this Build Lab support. They can come in here, they can talk to each other, they can ask questions, they've got search, they can, you know, I'm going to be unlocking some cool things on the leaderboard, some cash prizes as they, you know, get more engaged. And then you need to have your program that you're actually going to sell them. This is pre-recorded. Like this is mine. It's called Build Lab. And so it's like, as you're teaching them, they're like, ah, okay. And then I'm like, okay, here's the next one. The second pillar is the perfect customer. And I just keep going through, and I'm like, so if you have these kinds of questions, that's what this thing actually does. And then I teach them a little bit. I'm like, here's how to come up with your message. So I give them a little thing. I'm like, you need to put like, I help. And I'm like, so here's an example of mine. And I use an example that really talks to them. I'm like, I help course creators launch a high value membership program so they can work from anywhere, earn like the top 1% without being overwhelmed by tech. Cause these are all their, so I'm using an example, and I'm like, you need to create a message like this for your own thing. So maybe you've got something and it's not working for you yet. Here's what you need to come up with. You need to come up with something like this. And they're like, God damn it. And they're getting all this value from it, right? They're like, this is great.
Right.
Holy shit. Like, this is incredible. This is free. And it's a free, so they're getting training. I show them how I go in here. I'm like, let's say you're going to teach somebody how to do a DJ business or how to
And they're
become a
probably
DJ.
going to get little bits and pieces of it as it goes along. And they might like
They
see
will.
that and go, oh yeah, I've got the perfect like sentences to go in here.
Yeah. And
But
then
that's only a little bit of it.
they might be missing this part. Well, then I become extremely valuable to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just keep taking them through this. And then towards the end, okay, so I take them through and I tell a little story about my grandpa. And I'm like, okay, so when you create a product, you got to make it, you know, you need to create one of these maps. And I show them how to do it. I'm like, what you do is first, I'm like, you need to do a brain dump. Sticky notes, Miro board, like I'm using here. I show people how to do this in my program. I'm always using language like that. This is what I teach inside of my program, but I want you to see this right now so that you can, you know, take action on this. I want you to get a lot of value out of this video. And I had to shoot this video like 4 times before I finally launched the one that's out there right now. The first one I shot was 1 hour and 30 minutes long. I'm like, well, nobody's I was like, God,
Wow.
I was tired after I got done with it. I'm like, holy shit. So I shot it again and it was 1 hour. Then I shot it again. And I got it down to like 37 minutes. And it was the same slides. I got rambling on, right? So I'm like, first thing you do, and I keep it real simple like this. I'm like, you need to do a brain dump. What are the steps that you take somebody through to get them from point A to point B, right? And then once you have that, I want you to then start organizing it into something like this: 3 phases. And then each phase just have 3 stages. And then each stage would have 3 action items. 3, 3, 3. Just keep rules of 3. Okay.
Right.
Even though there might be a lot more stuff in these for purposes of you getting your program together and being able to show it to somebody and the product, that's what matters. And then I'm like, then you create something like this. And I teach my people in Build Lab how to do this, but you can just use a program like Miro and then maybe some Photoshop, or you can have somebody do it on Fiverr. So I'm kind of teaching them these things, right? But they're like, they're hearing it and they're like, yeah. But they can't put it together. Like it's, you know, it's hard, right? And then I'm like, then each one of these things could be their own product. So now you'd have 9 products that you could sell. You know, I could sell a product that's maybe just $97 one time or $49, and it's just how to create lead magnets. So if that was the case, I would create another one of these for just this. So you see, you use that same model, and that's how you can create endless amounts of products from your product. Now, why did I do it this way? Why do I do it this way? Well, when I'm with my grandpa here out on the farm, you know, you don't just go doing shit haphazardly. You'd crush something, die, get something broken. So you need a standard operating procedure. And when I was struggling and had to pay bills, which is a key thing, right? I needed something that was a standard operating procedure. I didn't need fluffy hopes and dreams because I know that's what gets sold out there on the internet. And I'm like, I needed to pay bills. So I needed something that I could follow step by step, click by click, that actually showed me how to do this. And so just like out here on the farm, you don't just go haphazardly doing things. You follow a standard operating procedure. That's what I had to create here. Okay. And so I'm giving them, I'm kind of showing them, look, I'm a good old boy from Kansas, I ride on the tractor with grandpa, and then like I go into, and then I'm like, so let's look at step 4. So that was just like me talking about this step 3. And so that's kind of how you go about this, right? And then I'm like, here's the rule of 1,000. And I'm breaking down, like when people get started with me, our goal is to get their first 1,000 leads, because on average, you're going to convert 1 to 5% of those leads. Well, that's 10 to 50 sales. Well, if you're charging $1,000 or your customer's worth $1,000 to you at the end of a year or something, then that's $10 to $50,000. Now we've got something going and we can keep working from there. So I've pre-built the process for you. I've pre-built the funnels for you. I've got, we go live. I show you how to do ads. I show you how to do organic content. And I'm showing them this stuff in here, right? And then towards the end here, I'm like, and then I start kind of bouncing through a little quicker because I've like already delivered a lot of value. Then I'm like, I show you how to create that, the sales video. Then I show you how to use AI tools like ChatGPT to help you create different things, how to outsource, how to supercharge your traffic by going live or doing ads. And I said, it's all included in this roadmap here that you get when you join Build Lab. Okay. So we've taken it, as far as we can to give you all the support you need and everything. So let's actually look at this. And this is where I bounce out and go to my sales page, and I'm just like recording my screen. And I'm like, here's the sales page, because I want to show them where to actually sign up. And before I go over there, I'm like, but hold on a second. Do you drink coffee? Because what I did is I took what it cost a year and I divided it by per day. And I'm like, it literally costs you, I'm like, do you drink coffee? Do you spend more than $1.63 a day? Because we all know a cup of coffee is more than that now. I'm like, well, you can.
Oh, one of these monsters is like $3.
Yeah. So I'm like, for $1.63 a day, you can have everything I just shared with you. And so I literally made it like anybody can afford this, right? But I'm like, but you get real business results. And I'm like, okay. Oh, and by the way, when you opted in, I made sure to send this to you to your email. So make sure you go find that email, and it's got this in it. And all of these links are clickable, and they're videos. Okay. So these are videos about all this. And I just put my YouTube videos in here. And then up here, there's this little thing that's like, transform your knowledge into an ultimate scalable asset and launch your profitable e-learning business. And if they click this, it takes them right to my Build Lab sales page. And this is a PDF that I sent them so that they actually go click on the email so that my email starts showing up in their inbox. So that is like, and then up here, like when I'm going through that formula, I'm like, these are the 3 must-have things. You need to have the heart, the strength, and the goal. I can't give that to you. You have to have that. So I'm kind of filtering some people out right there. Okay.
Right.
And then I'm like, then you need the right roadmap, you need the right support system, and then you can actually get to this impact and income. I was like, this is exactly what I had to do to be able to, travel. And I kind of do a little, carrot dangling. I'm like, I was able to, buy my dream house and go do these things and, all work from my office, or I can even work from my laptop while I'm on vacation, which is all true. I mean, this is all like, it's actually me when I had hair and shit. And then I'm like, so who's this for? Well, you want to make profit results. So again, I'm kind of pre-qualifying them. And I'm like, it's also for coaches and membership programs, for coaching and membership programs. It's for people that do consulting and mentoring, that teach other people how to do something they've already learned how to do. Course creators, educators, local businesses can use this, agencies, authors, experts, people that give people a transformation-based or some kind of specialty service. Okay. And so there, it's like, hopefully one of those things trips their trigger if they're one of these people, right? And then we carry on through the rest of this thing. And that's that. Okay. Now I just launched it. It's not like, blowing up with sales, but it is, I'm slowly starting to go live again. Like I kind of disappeared for a while. And then, I haven't really even emailed a lot of people. I'm like, I want to get more of the program even built out, which I don't necessarily need to. There's already stuff back there. They have things, they get these weekly calls, which honestly are, these things are pretty damn valuable, I think. But I just know
it's the first one I've been able to attend, but it's been I mean, I know what to do now, at least for getting business, my business really going, because like, I don't want to sit here and print. I want to like, I want to print because I want to, not because I have to.
100%. 100%. Well,
I'd much rather have like, like when my kids are here, like I've got, 50-50 custody. When my kids are here, I'd rather just be hanging out with them.
right. 100%. I mean, that's what I love about this business, and the reason I got into it is simply that, because I can make something once and I can sell it 1,000 times over without having to do that work again. And it's
Exactly.
like, and I can, it really does help people. I'm like, these programs help people. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I can't even tell you, I don't even know a more elegant way to get to real money and real freedom outside of creating like online programs and stuff like that. Like you can't just hop into real estate, right? You can't just
Right.
hop into some of these models like that. I mean, this though, you can literally, no lie, start for pennies. If
Well,
for free.
I found you originally because on TikTok I did a search for digital marketing, because I was looking for, courses on digital marketing. But aside from going back to college, most of the ones I was finding were thousands of dollars.
Right.
And, so that I was looking for, going, okay, I know I need to, and I was looking at like, okay, I need to sell these, right?
Mhm.
I wasn't even thinking about selling this. But your
Well,
mindset of what you were talking about in your live was going, well, dude, why are you trying to sell as physical product? Why aren't you selling this?
and most people, the thing is, they don't have like a skill set like you have, to a perfective way where you can, I mean, you can effectively create something that is usable, right? All right, Vinny man, take care, buddy. You leaving out? Okay, see you. You have to, for some people, that's why it's not for everybody, but you have to be able to help somebody obviously get a result, but you can learn something. Or some people even go and buy courses that are already done, and then they rebuild them. They're called private label rights. They're just like
Mm-hmm.
courses people created, and they just sell you the white label version of it basically, and you can put on it whatever you want and recreate it or whatever. I'm not really for that, just because I don't know. I'm like, I want to work with people that have some sort of expertise or, you know, ability to do something, and then I'm going to show those people. Those are just more my crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I went to this model. But obviously, what we teach in here, it doesn't matter what you're selling. Doesn't matter what you're selling. The selling online thing is the same process.
Right. And it
I'm
could be
just
a
showing
physical product. It could be,
anything. Yeah.
it could be the Sentry alarms or whatever the other guy
Yeah.
was selling. That's a great product too.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, as long as it solves a problem for people.
Right.
It's like, so that's what this is all about. That's what this program, is going to continue to show you and come out with. But man, you think about it, like, I learn a lot on these calls because people are asking me different things. You know, I hear their mind about what's going on. So that makes me better at marketing, makes me better at creating a better product. And it gives you a lot of value too. Like, I do this every Monday and Thursday, at 2 different times. And like I mean, it's so powerful to be able to do that, and they're recorded. So it adds to the program. The program continues to build like that. So that's great.
And
And
I'm
then,
glad you record them, because Thursdays I probably won't be able to attend,
yeah. And
just
usually
because of what
people
time
just
it is.
they grab one or the other. And, that's why I do it. Cause some people are overseas, and that's why I do one in the morning, one in the evening. So this one's always the evening, Thursdays at 10 a.m. But yeah, then they're recorded. You can go back and listen to them. And then that
I'm
private
gonna have to go
community.
back and just listen to what you've been telling me, because I've been trying to take some notes, but like I'm only understanding a fraction of it.
Well, that's why I do the recording like this, because then you can just you can just pay attention and go back and watch these again. But and then you can go to the program, then you can go out and do it, then you can come back to the call, then you can go to the program again, you can go to the community, you can lock up with somebody in the community and be like, hey man, can you help me? Can you jump on a Zoom with me for 30 minutes? And can you help me work through my brain dump? I need to get this stuff out of my head so I can start organizing it in the right order, so that I can create my roadmap, so that I can start creating lead magnets, so I can start creating my sales video. It's like,
Mhm.
that's why that community is so powerful too, because you can go in there and ask questions. And if you have questions in between these two calls, you can go in there and ask questions about that too.
Dude,
And then,
I'd love to be in one of those 90-day success stories and be done being broke.
yeah, you
I'd
absolutely
love it.
can. I mean, you absolutely can. It's literally, if you're not making offers, you're not making money. Well,
Mhm.
if you can only make an offer if you have an offer. So I really like the prospect of you teaching people how to do, because you know how to do it. You know how to sell it, obviously. Okay. You've actually done it, right?
Right.
So you can turn around and teach people just how to get to that point, like how to create and sell something like that, or just first off, how to do 3D printing, how to actually get a 3D printer to work for you.
Mhm. And then another course might be taking your hobby and turning it into money.
That's right. It is. And then at some point, there's people that will want to go to the next level with you, or they want to spend more time with you. And the more time you spend with them, the more you can charge for that.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's cool. It's ever evolving, and it's very leverageable. I mean, it's the perfect model, really. So like, as you go through Build Lab, the first one is the business model. And then,
Yeah, I just found the classroom today. I was like, I didn't
yeah,
even realize that existed. That's awesome. I'm
yeah,
gonna have to play around with that.
yeah. And you just work through it step by step. And then, I'm adding to the new Build Lab right now, version 2.0, basically.
Hmm.
The first one in there, the beta version's in there right now, which is, great. I mean, it's got everything in there. It's got the funnels. It's got how to do the video. It's got everything in there. It's just a very light version because it was the beta version, right? I built it out, and then I got feedback from the community. Now I'm taking that feedback and I'm building the full version, if you will, the, version one
Mhm.
from the beta. And I'm just building that out now. And then there'll be my last program in my last company that I had that was just focused on martial arts. I mean, I rebuilt that program probably like 6-7 times. And it was, it was a big program, but you things change, you get better at things, you refine it, and you'll do the same thing, but yeah, just go through that process, and not only like learn about what I'm sharing with you and how to do it, but also watch what I'm doing with you. Because you're going to do what you're essentially, I'm showing you how to do what I do. So as you're learning, you also need to observe how it's for you too, going through it. Because you would do that with your people. There at some point you would have people getting on these weekly calls with you, and they're like, James, on this, when I'm trying to dial in the axis part of the 3D model or whatever, like I'm having troubles with this. Like, what do I do with that?
Mm.
And then you can be like, da 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 da, and they're like, cool, and
Right.
you'll
And you got to be
record.
able to break it down for them.
Yeah, and listen, you're gonna know how to do that, because if somebody's really doing the thing,
Mhm.
you know already how to do that,
Mhm.
right?
Because they should be following. If they're doing something you've already explained, they should be following your steps already.
That's right. Yeah, and you're already gonna know because you have experience with doing it. You know, there's like nuances about it that you're like, you know, like it's like what was like, for instance, like what was your biggest takeaway today with this?
Uh, well, the biggest takeaway actually, like was going like I could teach this. Like I hadn't even thought about that before until you were talking to the other guy. I don't remember what it was you were telling him, but basically you're kind of explaining to him about like I don't remember what it was. He said something critical, but it was an aha moment of like, wait a minute, I could probably teach this, and that's when I went and got this. I was like, I need to show him and like ask him if this is something I could do.
100%. I mean, here's the thing that I look at when I think about stuff like that. I'm like, all right, somebody's probably already doing this. So it's like, what we can do is just pop onto here. I can go here and I can be like, how to create a 3D model. So when I type that in, for printing from photos in Blender, these are all things that people are typing in when they start typing this in, or how to do 3D printing, and then look, design time lapse at home, how to make 3D printing models. These are like people are actually typing this in. This isn't, otherwise this wouldn't show out. So if I show this, if I'm like how to make 3D printing models, the first thing, of course, a YouTube video pops up. But the first thing I'm looking for is like, I'm looking for ads, right? Because I'm like, if somebody's running ads to this, then obviously they're making money. But when I come in here, it's like, how to make a 3D model for printing. Okay, what's this? If I click on this, let's see what happens. 3D model printing. Okay. I click on it because I'm like, are they selling a course already about this, right? Like, are they, who is there somebody selling stuff on this already? Because I want to go see what they're doing, and I want to, you know, see what's working for them. What is this? So what I'll do is, as soon as I find a keyword like this, okay, I will take it, and I like to go over to YouTube, and I like to type it into YouTube, and then again, I'm looking for ads. Is there any ads showing up? But what I usually do is look, 3D printing for beginners, how to make models to 3D print for free, 3D printing for beginners. This has 423,000 views on it. Obviously, people are interested in 3D printing.
Right.
So the model, the marketplace obviously is there, right? What I'll do then is I'll click on something like this that would be addressing somebody. 3D printing for beginners would be probably where you would be helping people. Okay. I don't necessarily watch the video unless I'm trying to figure out something, you know, on a different level. But in this case, what I'm just trying to find out is, what if somebody watched a video right now about how to do 3D printing for beginners and they still have questions? I want to know what those questions are, because that's going to help me learn about the problems that are still existing in the marketplace. So what I do is I've got this vidIQ software that I use, and it's like, I don't know, $10 a month. I think it's actually free to start, and then you can, like, you know, get more of it if you want. But only thing I really use it for is this. I click on this little filter thing, and it'll filter all these 364 comments right here. It will filter them down, only the ones that contain questions. Well, here it's like telling me there's a bunch of, there's like 20 comment threads. So it's like, hey, nice model. I'm interested in the finishing process now. What do you paint it with? Okay, so there's a question. That might be a part of your program. Question, with that rough, cruddy finish, would increasing the edge geometry reduce that? Okay, so these are like, that sounds like more of an insider question. Okay.
Right.
And then it's like, but
the answer is yes.
Yeah. But and see, you can literally come in here and answer that and say, hey, you know, that's a great question. I actually have a program where I teach this to people. And that's one of the things I actually teach them is, yes, you could just increase the edge geometry. And now he's like discovering you. He goes to your YouTube channel. You got a bunch of YouTube videos up there. And now they're like, and you were being helpful here. You shared a little bit of your story so they can be like, oh, and then they start following you. Then they start learning about your program. Then they're buying your program. Okay. So
Right.
this could be a video. You could do a YouTube video that's like, hey, are you wondering like, do you get that rough cruddy finish and you're wondering like, how do I keep that? How do I reduce that? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what this is. You could teach them that, and then you can say, now, this is just what I taught you here was actually just something that's inside of my new program called 3D Printing for Beginners. And, you know, this is just one step of that program. So, you know, I just want you to know that there's more to it. I don't want you to think that this is it, you know, and that's how you, bring them along the way. Next one is like, hey, great video. I'm really, it is really informative as a 3D modeler myself. I felt that this technology really pushes creativity to another level. I'm new to this technology and I do have some questions for you. Read more. Does this, so look at this. These are other questions that people have. He's a 3D modeler. He said, does 3D printer recognize normal bump maps, whatever? Is there a limitation with regard to poly, try, count? Is your experience? And so these are all things that you're learning that people still have questions about. If people have questions about it, if you can be the answer to everybody's 3D printing questions, what do you think is going to happen? It's like, hey, great tutorial.
And some of those are like really good questions, and you can have even more basic questions. Here's one that, you know, basically every parent has had. Your kid comes to you and says, hey, Dad, can you make me? So you can, I don't know how, like, can you see my camera?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my daughter brings me this. Dad, can you make me this? Right?
Okay.
And she knows about the printer, so she says the dark blue supports, right? And that's a slide. So I bring her to, how do I switch this? There we go. So I bring her over to the computer and we design this. And we even have a wheel here, and this goes inside that wall, which is this wall here, and you got the roof and everything in the slide. And we made that, and she painted it.
Dude, that's awesome.
And on the inside, you have a working wheel.
Yeah, man, that is so sweet.
So you could have something like that where you could say, has your kid ever brought you a drawing and said, can you make that? How would you like to make that for them?
Exactly. That would be like a subject line to an email. That would be a YouTube video that you would then put inside of the email, and you see how this works, right? And then they're like, I mean, I'm looking at this going, damn, that's sweet. Like, yeah, I literally am like that. And
it's strong. I'm holding it by the slide.
No, I know that stuff is so strong. And it's like, but see, that is exactly where so that's a story that you share that it's beautiful. You just literally did the perfect thing. That is marketing. Like, you know, a lot of people, have you ever had this happen? Your kid comes to you and says this, and that is exactly how you do content. That would have been a perfect 1-minute TikTok. And then in that TikTok, you have a link that goes to your site where you do a free training on how to actually, what's the next steps to actually do something, like how to do 3D printing. And then at the end of that video, that's where you make the offer to join your 3D printing course.
Right.
And that's exactly how you do that. And then you continue to create videos that make sense like that. Right. So while you're on here real quick, I will, but do you see, okay. So when we were doing just real quick, cause I'm going to read this guy's questions. He's like, looking forward to the call. I have to teach class. If you happen to mention a software platform, will you mention that it is you use where you go to get it? I have a MacBook Pro. I also had a question about you will be able to create funnels within your course, or if that will need to be used as an outsource like ClickFunnels or some other company. Yeah, so I'll definitely teach you how to create funnels inside of the program. I've already created the funnels for you, but you'll use a funnel software, which is System, which we use. And yeah, so there's the answer to your question. Okay, so back to here. So do you see how like this is just one video that I'm looking at? Look, 7 tips to improve surface quality of your 3D prints. Don't know where to start? 3D printing crash course, 500,000 views. You need 1,000 people paying you $49 a month. You need less than that, half that, a third of that, a quarter of that. And you can replace your
Right.
income. And then everything from there is like just yeehaw. But watch, if I click on this, I don't care what he's talking about. I could, I could get in there and like listen to him and shit. Maybe I'll hear something. But I'm more concerned with
Usually the talking head videos are kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how they're. Yeah, that's why I do the whole map thing and show people stuff because they're like constructively learning something. But I'm sure he might get into it on this too. It looks like he does a little bit. Look, see, it's not just all. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like 3D printing crash course for beginners. Don't know where to start. And there's 755 comments. I just go here, contains questions, and then, it's like. Look at this. I'm looking for a question mark somewhere. I would read this though. Like I go through and read all these. It's like, well, forget about that one for now, but I'm sure there's great stuff in that. It says, great video. Keep up the good. Quick question. Have you ever printed any propellers for your models? Okay. That could be a subject line for an email. That could be a video. And then you could relate it back to the course, right? Well done. Great video. Answered a load of questions I had and was looking at a whatever. I was also impressed with resin 3D printers, but I'm not sure if it is as versatile. There's another question you can answer. And so what I do is in my process, I'm like, I take all these and I've got a Google Doc open at the same time. And I'm literally copying and pasting these comments into a Google Doc. And I'm going through and I'm color coding all the ones that are basically the same question. And then at the end, I'll go back and look at that doc, and the color that I see the most tells me the biggest problems. And so I'll find the top 3 problems, the ones that keep repeating themselves, because you'll start hearing the same problem, same questions in here. And then I'm like, okay, now I just created the 3 bullet points for my funnel landing page, and I can teach people how to, answer these questions. And then now I've got them on my email list, and now I can continue to educate them about my program and then as I'm educating them about the program, I'm also giving them value and showing them where to sign up for the program. And you just keep doing this over and over. And then it's all in an automated follow-up sequence that feels really, really real. And then that's how you get daily pages coming in and recurring revenue coming in, because you keep providing value, showing people why this matters, showing them how to buy the program, creating a great product and program. And the better your product gets, the better your program gets, the less you have to, it starts selling itself. Like if you want incredibly great marketing, create an incredibly great product, right? Yeah. So it's like, what settings do we prepare the ender for printing? I mean, see these things like, does 3D...
Which ender?
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, what does adding more color on a design, does adding more color on a design work? Does 3D only do one color? See how simple these questions are?
Right.
And they watched a beginner thing about this. So
well,
it's like,
okay. Does 3D add one color here? Check this out. This one does up to 4.
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, and see, you've got like,
and actually this one can do up to 16. I've only got 4 at the moment.
But see how you like
and I can even make my own where's the button? Lightsaber. Yeah.
But you see how like you have like all this right here to show people, like you can take people through this entire process, and you can literally, we've looked at 2 videos and look at all the different things that we're seeing here.
Yeah. And I can answer half their questions just right there.
That's what I'm saying. So you have endless
I've done this
content that you can do.
Coming up on 4 years. Yeah.
So this guy's like, can't figure out how you are supposed to load the filament into the printer head. I mean, this is where people are at, right? It doesn't seem like it went in the white tube. Any ideas, actual operation of the printer? So he says,
and that's basic stuff right there.
Yeah, but that's like a big problem for them. And some of these people, like this guy's a grown ass man here. He's probably got $67 a month to figure this out if he cares about it. Dude, when it comes to stuff like this, like people spend tens of thousands of dollars on golf. and they're never going to be pro. They're never going to get paid for it.
Mhm.
And so it's like, but they want to, I mean, I've
But
taken
that's
courses.
somebody that buys that printer for $300 to $500. They can't figure out how to load the filament in it, and they stick it on a shelf.
Yep. And you can literally like, look at this. This has
Dude, that's a title
600,000
for a
views.
video. You spent $300 to $500 on a printer, and all it does is sit on a shelf.
That's right. Or the subject line in the email, ... Does your 3D printer just sit on the shelf collecting dust? And then in the next, right when they open the email, it's like, I get it. You tried putting this to it. You tried doing this and it didn't. And so you're like, ugh. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you a getting started guide so that you can get through that. Okay. And then they click on that, they watch it, you show them that, and sprinkled throughout the video, you're sharing little tidbits about, this is just one of the things that I share in my program, and it's actually step 1. But I want to show you here so you can do it right now. And you just give them a little bit, right? It's like if you want somebody to start buying cocaine from you, you just give them a bump, right? You just give them a little bit. You don't give them the whole bag, you kill them, right? Or it'll overwhelm them. They'll never want it again. You just a little bit. And then pretty soon, see, and I know that's a terrible example, but what I'm trying to get at is that's kind of like what marketing is.
You don't start them out with that $1,600 machine. It's going to overwhelm them.
You got to
You
bring
start
them into
out with the $150 Ender 3.
You got to ask them, like, or you got to realize that they need to feel understood. Like, dude, this guy is blowing me away. Like, but there's a time and a place to blow them away. Sometimes, I'll create videos that people are like, dude, you were way over my head, but they're still paying attention because they know there's more to this. And they know, and they need, it's like, it's all, and if you love what you're doing, like, you can tell I'm passionate about this.
So in the intro video that to try to hook them, you show them the big machine in action, but you're starting them on.
Yeah, you reel them back to like, but here's where you start. Here's what's possible. And, that's why I created this program. It's for the absolute beginner. It shows you click by click, step by step, what to do to get it set up so that you can actually have fun with this. Because, man, when you do, you can create stuff like this for your daughter, and they love that stuff, or for a friend, or, what. And that's how you hook story offer. That's how you blend the story with value. So you're always showing them, like, you always want to bring it back to context. It's like you show them something, and they're like, so what? And you're like, here's why this matters. Right. And a lot of people, they get real good at just being like,
because your kid's going to come up to you and say, can you make this? And you're going to say, absolutely, let's do it. And you're not just going to make it for them. You're going to help them to make it.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the kind of thing where you're blending together story and you're showing context. And that's why it's so good to have that like roadmap like that, because it keeps you on the rails. Like it keeps you in line, but then you have this guidepost that you can bring context back, and everything relates to that. So they actually get the result. And I mean,
it's relatable.
Yeah. And and you always tie it to that source. It's like, that roadmap is your source for everything that you do. And then when they actually get into the program, when they actually start doing the stuff, it just becomes that. It's like the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's like everything.
I love that book.
Yeah, but everything stems from that, right? Every chapter pulls out of this like core map, and it's what you want to do. And I'm telling you, there's not a question about whether or not this is something people want. You don't get, there's not 600,000 views on a video from 11 months ago that says how to easy do 3D printing. And then you come down here in the questions, they watch this video and they still have all these questions right here. Like, maybe in one of the comments you already answered this, but could you explain what settings you tried first, second, third, and then for best print? You see, like, if you spent an hour a day just doing what I'm doing right here with this, and you read all these and you copy and pasted the ones that really were like, and then color coded them, or just grouped them together, like these are all ones about how to start, these are all ones about the next thing.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden your brain goes,
that guy's asking about, like, can you explain the process improvement? Like, Sure, I can do a whole class on process improvement.
Okay, so you said in the beginning of this, you said, how do I get it out of here into here? This is how. You don't need to give them every atomical detail that you know and every nuance. You get this person to be able to print out a keychain. And then they'll be like, well, I want to print a working motor. I want to create a thing that has gears in it and shit like it. You know, like
Mhm.
you
Well,
can,
okay, but first we have to teach you how to make a gear,
right.
and then we have to teach you how to make a gear mesh with another gear, and then you can make the motor on your own.
Right. So this is where you come through here and you're like, oh, I see. This guy's like, I'd like to see a comparison. How easy is 3D printing versus sewing machine? Okay, who cares? But some of these you got to like obviously use a little common sense and filter
Right.
through. But the point I'm getting at is if you did what I'm sharing with you right now, and you did this consistently, and you wrote down all the questions, because again, we get paid to solve problems. That's what entrepreneurs do. So
Right.
if you can find all the problems that live inside of this niche right here, inside of this particular little thing, and you can figure out after reading all those questions, you'll be like, okay, I know the exact kind of program that I need to create to teach people this stuff. And then, you know, I'm going to set it up in 3 phases, like, you know, and then each phase is going to have 3 little pillars in it. Each pillar is going to have 3 modules, just like I set up Build Lab. And then I'm going to build the model of this. I'm going to build little diagrams that show each and every step. So it's easy for me. It's easy for them. And then now I've got everything. I've got my source for all my marketing, for all my videos. I've got all these questions I can go out and answer with video after video, TikTok after TikTok. And every time you do this, it's like hook, story, offer, hook, story, offer. Because remember, if I'm not making offers, I'm not making money.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with making an offer in all of your content after you've provided massive amounts of value, and then you can make an offer in it. And the offer that you're making is to help them solve a problem.
Yeah. And
So
the
it's
problem
amazing.
is just simply the question that they asked.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this guy's like, I don't want to spend more than $220. Should I get a Vox Lab, Aqua, Ender 3, and then things I prefer, also have community support for all and any upgrades. Can you help? See what I'm saying? Like this person's ready to buy some shit. He goes, I got $220 to spend. And if they could buy a course that they're paying $97 a month, which is $3 a day, a cappuccino a day, or a monster drink a day, they can have access to somebody like you that can get them across the line. And let's say they stay with you for 6 months. Okay, that's $600. If 1,000 people give you $600 in 6 months, you're a top 1% earner on the planet doing what it is that you love to do from home. Does this make sense?
And all you're doing to that is you're saying to that person, okay, you got $220 to spend. What if I could help you to turn that $220 into $1,600?
Right.
A month.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the model now. We know people want this stuff. It's evident with the market research that we just did. You can continue to do that. You have it now, right? Like, and you could charge $97 a month, and your first goal should be to get 1,000 members at $97 a month. You can do that math. You're a 7-figure earner, and you're helping people like crazy. And if you can just get those 1,000 people, and you can get them to have success with that, every person that they run into that they'll be friends with, that'll also birds of a feather. If you got 1,000 people, they all have a friend. Now you have 2,000 people. And they're going to be like, dude, how did you print that? That was badass. Oh yeah, I took James Long's 3D printing for success course or whatever. Oh really? What is it? Yeah, dude, it's only $97 a month. Dude, like blew my mind. Like, God, that's how I made this. And all of a sudden it's like,
dude, his $97 a month course, I'm making $1,600 a month doing this. And that's just a little bit of side money.
And you'll have some people that do that a day.
Yeah.
I mean, my highest, the I've got clients that come in. I've got one client, he was doing over 20 million per month.
Good night.
Yeah, I couldn't even wrap my freaking head around it.
I don't
But
know if I could make that in a lifetime.
oh, I know. And this guy was like in his 50s too. It was insane. But you know, he was just in a boring business. He was in waste management, you know, but it was like,
Mhm.
anyway, the point I'm getting at is you're going to have all walks of life, all levels of success that you can share with people, and you can show them how it's possible. And because you're teaching somebody to fish, you're unlocking life for them, and you're showing them how to do something that they love to do. And then if they can even earn money doing what it is that they love to do, then you've really become this element in the universe that has changed a lot of lives. And that's why you're going to earn outsized returns versus people that are just consuming and being told what to do each day. And so,
Well, if I can show them how to make money doing what I do, I become invaluable to them.
welcome to Build Lab. But that's, you know, it's
There's
like
the commercial right there.
yeah. So it's like, but it is, man. I mean, do you see how valuable these calls are?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're the only one on
Dude,
here.
I could not wrap my mind around this before I got on this call.
And you're the only person on right now, which is mind boggling. And it's just normal though, because that's why it's like less than, 5% or 10% of 8 billion people make over 6 figures a year. This is why.
Right.
You got to show up. And that's the biggest thing. Like what for you to set, you're going to get your funnel set up. You're going to get all that stuff set up. And then all you have to do is show up consistently each day, sharing on where people are, social media, and in the email, sharing with them how it is that you help them solve their problem, why you matter to them, and providing them with over delivering on value. They will reciprocate. I mean, it's the most beautiful thing. And it's right around the corner for you. The big thing that I want you to do is keep going through Build Lab. And I want you already know who your customers are. They're all over. Just type in 3D printing, how to do 3D printing on YouTube, and just turn YouTube into the ultimate research machine, because you can go get that vidIQ software. You just go to vidIQ.com, download the little extension on Chrome, and then it's free. And then if you want, you can pay like $10 a month or something like that. I actually, in Build Lab, in module, in pillar 2, module 2, I have the link to it. You can just go right in there and it'll take you right to what you need right now inside of Build Lab, the brand new Build Lab in there. Okay. Just click on it. There's every module in the new Build Lab has a summary doc. And in that summary doc, I have all the resources and links to everything that we need to use and all that stuff. Okay. So you can go in there, and I even show you again in Build Lab how to do that process we just talked about in more detail.
Add to your YouTube channel. Good IQ. There we go.
So you can just take that, use that little question thing that I did, and I show you in that video how I just did what I did, okay? But with a little bit more detail, and I go into more. And I'm going to show you like these chat GPT prompts too that you can use for like analyzing your competitors, like helping you build out a course. Like it's insane. I show you how to read the raw, old school instruments, and then I also show you how to use AI, right? So I have like over 500 something plus prompts that I give you all throughout the course that help you I show you how to do it yourself, so you don't need to rely on a machine, but then why not use a machine, right? It's like you're stronger with it. So I show you how to use that with it. But man, I love this idea for you. And I think you're going to be so happy because like I've been on here for almost 3 hours with you, right? And my energy has not changed because I love what I do. And when you love what you do, it's like you have endless power doing it.
Dude, I have not been this excited. I went from, so what, 3 weeks ago, I met you on TikTok. So I'm dad of great kids on TikTok.
Okay. I thought so. I was like, I knew who you were, but I didn't want to like say something, be like, why, who's he talking? But yeah, I got you.
Right.
Okay.
So I went from like super, super skeptical and like, things have been pretty tight for me for a while now, and went from that to going, okay, you said solve a problem. Okay, well, I solved a problem. I'm in Utah. What do people like in Utah? Well, cliche. Well, guess what's selling in Utah? Solving a problem. Okay, well, that's a physical problem that I'm solving that is currently making money, that is currently paying the bills with a little bit to spare, even not quite as tight as I was. Okay, now I'm in a mindset where I can
Congratulations
actually
on that.
focus and
Like,
think. Thank you. I mean, that's 3 weeks ago.
dude, that's amazingly awesome. Like, congrats.
Yeah.
Like you created, you were resourceful. That's entrepreneur, period.
Yeah. And actually, I've sold 3 of those respoolers as well to other 3D printer people on TikTok.
And that's another thing. As you build your program and course, you're going to see little things that are missing that they keep saying, like, man, I wish this. And then you could create a product that serves that need that you can sell inside of your program.
Yeah, dude, I did that because other people on TikTok were going, dude, these bamboos, they chew up those spools. And so I wish I had a spooler. And I'm like, well, do you have a spare motor laying around? Yeah. Do you have a spare controller laying around? Yeah. Well, guess what? If you go down to your vacuum store, I bet you they have a belt. Go down and get a 360 millimeter belt, and I will sell you my STL file to make this.
And think about that. Those selling those files, they're digital.
Yeah.
That's another
I
thing that
sold
you
them
can
that
teach.
file for $60.
Yeah, man, you can. That's something you can continue to sell over and over and over again. Like, you also have that opportunity as well inside of this. So there's like all these monetization channels inside of it. And then if you might even be able to get like an affiliate link for the program that you
Ooh,
suggest inside of the
that's
course.
smart.
Yeah, I do it. Dude, when in my last business that I did, I was making like, I don't know, close to 10 grand a month, just affiliate money, free money for suggesting software that I use in my programs.
But it's
That was
software I
paying
own.
like, I mean, for me to run a 7-figure business, it cost me less than like $1,000 a month. That's insane.
Yeah. Dude, these are files I own.
I know.
You know,
It's like,
I own the files to this. All I did for this is I downloaded pictures of the Salt Lake Temple or religious building, because I can't call it a temple or the church will come after me, but it's a religious historic building.
gotcha.
I downloaded detailed pictures and I used some software, and then I did have to add a little bit of the detail that it didn't pick up. It took me about 2 hours to make this.
That's awesome.
And then it took me about another 3 hours to get everything into where I could get the lights into there, because the lights are just these cut to size lights.
Gotcha.
And these are $12 for a string of these on Amazon.
That's awesome, man.
It's it's so simple to do.
I absolutely love this stuff. Like, I think it's so cool because of what the internet has allowed us to do in technology today. Like, you can create an incredible living doing what you love to do, and you can do it like from anywhere, frankly. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you and there's so many ways. Like, you can sell the files, you can sell the products, you can sell affiliate links, you can sell your program, coaching, consult. I mean, it's so cool, man. You're like the prime
And
person for this.
for simple projects, people don't need a powerhouse computer. For the things I do, for this, yeah, You do. This one model uses about 48 gigs of RAM. This computer, this laptop can do it. It's a 8-core, 16-thread Ryzen 9 with 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
heavy.
I have run out of RAM a couple times.
Oh, I believe it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you
I
know,
think,
but like if the thing is, if I can get the model, the program set up like this,
mhm.
Build Lab could possibly, will replace this computer with one that can handle bigger models.
Yeah, I mean, you could get, I mean, of course. Like,
You know, I won't be doing this on a laptop.
you know,
The
and
only
you
reason I'm
can,
doing it on a laptop is because Newegg sent it to me to review.
yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to even have afforded this system.
And I mean, I'm telling you, like, that math that I was talking about, where it's like, you know, the rule of 1,000, it's like once you start figuring that out and you reverse engineer it back, and you realize that, like, if I can just get, you know, let's just say it took a year, and you could get, you know, obviously you can do it much quicker, but let's just say, just for that, you know, let's just say it took a year, and let's just say you had 100 people paying you $97 a month. That's $9,700 for a digital program. And then if you get 100,
Right.
you just keep doing what you did to get 100, and you get 200. Now you're at 20 grand, 30 grand, 40, and it just, it's just, to me, it's like the most powerful thing ever, man, because
Dude, that's goosebumps.
it's there's 8 billion, these videos that we were looking at have over 600,000 views about how
Right.
to do 3D printing. You need a
And he
couple
probably
hundred.
didn't have a funnel.
Well, they don't, you know, and it's like, and so it's amazing. And then you can even be an affiliate for like Amazon if you suggest products off of there. There's just so many ways to monetize this. Imagine if you had, you know, 100 people and they all
Well,
bought your affiliate link,
if I'm
and
teaching somebody how to make this, right? And maybe it's not a temple, maybe it's, you know, something else that's a lighted thing, right? Okay. So there's one little charge controller. Okay. So that's an affiliate link to Amazon. The lights and the wire are an affiliate link to Amazon. The 18650 battery is an affiliate link to Amazon. The plastic
spooling
itself
yes,
is an affiliate link to Amazon. And then the program is mine.
yep. And then it's just all those things coming together, and you've replaced your income. You're doing what it is that you love to do. You're changing people's lives. You're building an audience. And then if you build an email list,
And then, you know, the manufacturers are like, hey, would you like to review our products? You know, and we'll give you an affiliate link.
100%. And then the next thing that happens is, like, when you build an email list, I heard the other day there was a guy, he built up an email list. It was a very targeted list. So I think it was dealing with real estate of some sort, like short-term rental properties, like Airbnb stuff. And it took him like 6 months, but he built up an email list that had like 10,000, it was around 10,000 people on it. He sold it for $250,000 to like some real estate place, because you think about it, there's 10,000 people on there, and they were 10,000 people opening his email. Like, he'd send an email and he'd get 10,000 to open it or something like that, right? Which, whatever. He built it in 6 months
Like
with his YouTube
verified
following.
leads.
Yeah. On an email list. And then he sold the email list to somebody for $250,000. The hustle, which was
Wait, is
another
that
email.
legal?
Yeah, 100%. You're selling, yeah, 100%. Like, all I'm telling you is, when you build an email list, you're building an extremely powerful asset. Imagine if you had, let's say after a year, you had 10,000 people on your email list, and they were all like 3D printer fanatics, right?
Mm-hmm.
How valuable is that to a 3D printing company? They might go, Yeah,
And
we'll
there's
give you $1
like,
million
hey,
for
do you
that because
have
we're gonna
that
make
list?
10 million from it.
Right.
And they'll come to you and they'll be like, how much is it for you to send out an email to your list about this? I know people that do that, and it's like, or just, can you sponsor your email by 3D printing XYZ company? We'll just give you 10 grand a month if you can at least just throw our name in there, because, you know,
Yep.
we're selling.
And you're like, make it 15 and we got a deal.
That's right. Because they're going to sell that, you know, after a year, they might sell 1,000 units at 1,600 a piece, or so. You know, it's like they're going to make outsized profits from you doing the work of building up a list of people that are. So like, all I'm telling you is we've just talked about 5 or 6 different streams of income that can come from you educating people about how to create 3D printing models and or 3D printing models for a business. And all you need is the model that I'm sharing with you inside of Build Lab, which is your attraction machine, your conversion machine, and then your delivery mechanism, which is your program, and your membership area and stuff like that. And which
I need to go through the classroom thing I found today.
Yeah. You'll freak out, man. You'll freak out.
Dude, every time I go into here, I find something new.
I'm pumped, man. And then this is all recorded, so you can come back to it, and you know, you'll go through Build Lab, then you come back, you might listen to this call again, and it might mean something way different to you, like completely in a good way. Like you might see it from a different perspective, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm loving it.
So, well, awesome,
I think
man.
there's a brand that says that.
Yeah. Don't eat it.
Dude, that's sweet.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you had. I love when people get on these calls and they have like that aha moment thing, you know?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
nothing
Dude,
makes me happier.
if we can get this far in 3 weeks, like, how far can we go in another 3 weeks?
Oh my gosh, man. I mean, I'm pumped for you, dude. I mean,
Like,
I'm
I
like,
was scrambling to come up with $67 3 weeks ago.
yeah. And now you're paying your bills with some extra.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, but you know, you got to pat yourself on the back too. You joined what you said 3 weeks ago, and
No, I joined a week and a half ago.
Yeah, but there you go.
I took your advice 3 weeks ago
Mm.
to find a problem to solve.
Mm.
And that is what paid for me to join a week and a half ago.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Dude, that's awesome. But you got to give yourself some serious credit though. Like you took action. But you know what? When you're in that spot, man, when it's sink or swim, those are the times that I can think back to my whole life, and it's like I heard somebody say today, if you were going to create a human that was resilient and strong, would you put them in just some comfortable room and give them everything they need when they wanted it?
No.
No, you'd put them in a crucible.
And
you would
make them flat broke, give them a $2,000 rent payment due in a week, give them kids that are hungry, and make sure that every bill is past due.
Yep. And
he will figure out a way.
That's right. That's right. And I'll tell you what, that's the secret. It's like, use these times. They're the times when they're the cornerstones of like who you are. Like that's what you don't get better and stronger when it's all ooshy cushy. Like it's in those times. And I mean, look what happened to you. Like you completely changed your perspectives on things. You didn't like crumble. You got resourceful. You took action. You invested in yourself, in your education, and then you took action on it. And now like you're having another moment like that. And it's like you're in a completely new place where
my oldest son asked me yesterday what changed, and I told him, well, I'm taking a course that's cost me $67 a month. He goes, wait, you're paying money? Yep.
I mean,
but I told him I'm taking a course because that's exactly what it is.
I mean, it is. That's exactly what it is. And it's like, but it's like if I lost everything and I was like back in that spot, I would have take every dime that I had and invested it into this, because if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
And it's like
You
what we've talked about on this call,
you can't
literally.
fix stupid.
Yeah, you have. So it's like right now, what we talked about on this call, just this call, you could literally take this and watch it a bazillion times and take action on just this, and you could figure it out. You know what I mean? If you really had to, like, you know what I mean? Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm giving you the pieces to each of the steps and everything, but like you would have the concept and the model and the power to like go forward and make something work like this because you have like the model now, you know? And
Yeah.
it's no pun intended. And then like it's that to me is where
Like just having that fraction of it to where you kept saying the critical thing, and I don't know, everybody hears what they need to hear, right? And what I needed to hear at the time was to, find a problem to solve, and I was sitting there going like what is there, and it wasn't until um so there's a study group that I attend Monday through Thursday evenings. We're about to jump on in about an hour, and somebody there lives in Alabama and knows that I do 3D printing and asked me if I could do the Alabama temple.
oh
And
sweet.
I said, sure, I can do the Alabama temple and I could even light it up.
That's so awesome.
And asked me, how much would that be? And I said 65, because, it's time material times 3. That's how I figure my cost, right? That's why this one's 65, this one's 180, because it weighs a lot more, time material, everything like that, right? And then that got me to thinking, I'm like, okay, if she wants one of these, how many other people want one?
Oh yeah.
And it was like an aha moment, because that got me to thinking about what you had said about solving a problem. The problem
mean,
is people want one, they just don't know it exists.
it's it's like this is the creator
Sometimes you have to solve
economy,
problems that people don't know it exist yet.
right? It's like what you did was you found something that means a lot to them and has a symbolic thing in their life that has helped them get through things.
Mm-hmm.
And by you creating a figure that they could hold in their hand that represents a symbolic thing in their life that guides them and powers them and makes them feel a certain way or whatever got them through, it's also something that they have that when they see it, it reminds them to be strong. So it solves that problem of that internal drive and power and like things like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's so interesting how you were able to pull that all together and think about that in that way. And it's like, that's where I see you doing incredible things with this. Like I see you, once you get a grip on this process and you understand how to take and convert your knowledge into like extreme amounts of like resellable value. That's why I said your knowledge is literally the most unlimited valuable asset you have when you can understand how to productize it and turn your knowledge into a product. And that is, it's endless ability. That's why I love I was in like just showing people how to sell stuff online. I'm like, how to sell anything to anyone was like kind of how it started. And then I'm like, the problem I kept running into, a lot of people would come to me and they're like, well, I don't know what to sell. What do I sell? And I'm like, well, most people, if they really dive deep into it, if they've been alive as an adult for 10 years or 28, 30 years old or something like that, or even younger. Okay. There's some people that start earlier or, have this or could do it at any age, frankly. But you've probably learned something. Your dad was a pilot or your mom was a whatever seamstress, or, you know, or she was a engineer, or, you know, it's like you've got this like thing in you that you already probably just subconsciously know so much about that you can dive into right away, and you instantly have a product. And for you, you might start here in this 3D printing game where you have an online program that teaches you how to become a great 3D printer, as well as a 3D printer business owner. And that could probably take you to complete and absolute life freedom, you know, but then you might
I
learn a
gotta take a
process
note on
there.
something you just said, because to make anything with a, wait, how do you spell that? Okay, I thought about something. You said how to sell anything to anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How to make anything with a caliper.
Yeah. I know it's
That's title for a video.
right. And I mean, the now that you've got this like unlock and this perspective,
Sorry,
you'll
I
have
didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, dude, that's beautiful. That's what these calls are about, man. But you have unlimited ability now to like create things that are going to be relatable to people in a way that you're going to allow them to see how 3D printing could put their kids through college, or how it could, you know, change their life and make them happier. You could see all these different
3D printing could put your kids through college. Something like that.
yeah. And it just keeps going from there, right? Like it just keeps, and then you take action on it, create the content, share that story, use your roadmap to show them how it's actually possible. They can see themselves getting out of the woods, per se.
Right.
And then you can relate them back to your product. They join your program, they get results, they do it. You share stories of the people that are doing it. You have these calls that are recorded. It's just, it becomes endless, and it can set you free, man. And this thing takes you to the next level, which takes you to the next level, which maybe you have at some point from your course, you end up learning what all the people that are going through your program are having trouble with all these different programs and softwares. Maybe you create your own 3D printing software at some point that you have thousands and thousands, if not millions of people at some point that are paying, like people pay Adobe, you know, 19 bucks a month to have all their creative tools. You might have, you know, 100,000 people paying you 19 bucks a month for your software or something. You don't know
Right.
where this goes. But now that you're
Well,
here,
that's just it. The sky's the limit.
yeah. And it's like, that's why I say, once you learn how to turn your knowledge into a product, it's literally game over from there. And then know how to sell it online. Like you can unlock everything.
The know how to sell it. That's why I was coming. That's how I found you in the first place. It was, you know, the search.
Yeah.
But you know, it was that search for digital marketing, and you know, Mike came up as live, and I'm like, oh, one of these gurus live. Oh, and there's 6 people in there. I might actually get to talk to one of these guys.
So I want you to just remember how you found me, because that's how people will find you. Like you could be going live talking about 3D printing, and those people will get on and watch that. And then in your live, people will be asking questions, and before you give them back an answer, you'll go, you know, that's a great question. It's something that I answer in my 3D printing program that I have. But what I would do is boom, boom, boom. And they're like, well, what's
Right.
the program? And you go,
Give
well,
them a
just go to my
little piece of
website.
it.
Yeah. And you just, well, because you can't cover it all there anyway. It's like,
Right.
that's why you create a VSL video that does cover all the bases and gives them tons of value. And then you make the offer in that, and it all works like that. That's just, you know, it's like a test drive
Right.
of a car. You know, I can't let you keep it, but if you want to come zip it around the block and see what it's like. So, you know, for you, it's like going live, if you just went live once a day for, an hour or something for a while, the great thing is you're going to learn so much about your customers, what they want. You're also going to get really good at communicating your message because they're going to keep asking you questions on the spot about things. And you're also going to learn the true problems that they have, what they really need help with. So it's going to allow you to build a program that actually serves them the way it should. It's not about just having a bunch of shit in your course. It's about only having in there what it needs so that they can get to the result as quickly as possible. Then you can take them to the next spot, maybe with the next program, right?
Yeah.
And then, which allows you to keep, having something that's good to sell, or having the ability to keep improving the one product, which is my, suggestion for you, is to just keep making a better Porsche 911, because that model, that's what a lot of people
got a
do, is
product that works. Why would you change it?
keep
Just
improving
keep
it.
improving it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, if you get on there live, and what I do to go live, people are like, well, what do you talk about? I'm like, I just pick a piece out of my program and I'm like, hey, today we're going to talk about the lead generator. I'll start talking about it a little bit, and then somebody's like, well, how do I do this? And then it turns into a conversation.
It tangents.
Yeah, it just turns into just different things. And then people are like, they're learning about you and they're going, oh, this is a real person. This is not some scam artist or whatever. This is somebody that's like a real person.
Yeah.
And then they go watch your stuff, and before you know it, you're on, a Zoom with them on Monday night for 3 hours.
Right.
But
Speaking, I do have to call him back, so I do have to cut it.
Yeah. No, I got to get in here too. I didn't want to shut this off because you were just like, it was opening up for you.
This
And I
is
wanted
fantastic. I just got to call my brother back.
All right, my man. Well, listen, it's been a great call. I'm glad that you got some value out of this. Thank you for staying on here with me and sharing. And it'll be inside a Build Lab as soon as I can get it exported and imported.
Cool.
So, all right, man.
Appreciate it, dude. That's fantastic.
Awesome. I believe in you, man. I'm pumped for you, dude. I can't wait. Keep sharing, different stories inside a Build Lab, and, just kind of share your journey. I think it's going to inspire people.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
Cool.
my man.
Have a good evening.
You too, man. Take care. Bye.